Everyone, and welcome along to Pembroke Cricket Club Sydney Parade, which hosts the final day of the IP20 trophy. We've had 4 weeks going all around Ireland. These festivals starting off in Cork, heading up to Belfast, then Brady and Londonderry, and now in Dublin to finish off. This is our final day today, and we open up with the Northwest Warriors on screen there, up against the Munster Reds. You can see the two Munster Reds batters coming out to the middle. They have won the toss and have decided to bat first today. Curtis Camphor comes back in as captain. Had a quick chat with him, and he just feels that with the conditions, the wicket still looks good. Overhead conditions, very clear skies. It's a beautiful day. We're all set for a terrific final day of the IP20. Say day 12. That's my last opportunity to say good morning to Isabel Joyce.
Well, the last one for now anyway.
For this season.
Yeah, it is a good morning as well. It's so beautiful here in Pembroke. It's about 20 degrees, set fair for the day. And I mean, I said it yesterday, but it's rarely you wake up in the morning, you look out the window and you think, yeah, there's going to be no rain today. I can go out with the sandals on. I can confidently not bring my jacket, although no surprise, it's in the car anyway. You never know, Ali.
You never leave it, ever. Yeah, but it is a beautiful day for cricket. Say 10:45 start here for this game one. And Graham Hume is going to open up the bowling for the Northwest Warriors. And they're off the mark. The Reds get off the mark, just tucked behind point, and Swapna Modgill gets off the mark straight away.
Yeah, a couple of changes for both teams. Munster Reds' Curtis Camphor returns. He was resting yesterday after his first game back after a long time. He got to watch his team shock the Northern Knights in what was an enthralling contest. And Ollie Riley back in as well. He replaces Brian McDonough. Suleiman Safi is the other player to miss out today for the Munster Reds. Stephen Doherty missed out yesterday. Maybe just looking to play within himself a little bit early on here against Graham Hume. Northwest Warriors have a couple of changes as well. Josh and Jared Wilson, no relation, both in. And Cameron Melly and David O'Sullivan miss out. Just wonder if David O'Sullivan, maybe he did try and effect a catch, didn't he, yesterday? That he looked like he was shaking his hand. We know he's got a split webbing. Wonder if that's split open once again.
Out the fielder, Scott Macbeth. And if you were with us yesterday, it wasn't a long innings from Stephen Doherty, but we did note his clothing a little bit. And I'm glad to say that the Munster Reds admin team have managed to find him a new number 22 shirt. Anyway, it's looking much more pristine this morning.
A little bit of extra lift there. Just finds the ridge ever so slightly.
Yep, a little bit of lift there for Graham Hume. Wasn't that his absolute best yesterday, you would say. Early on, it was a bit of a toll for him yesterday, but he's been pretty on the mark for most of the tournament, you have to say, and maybe that's why we looked yesterday and said just a little bit down on effectiveness, because he's been so good otherwise.
It just looked like, yeah, he definitely didn't look as quick yesterday, did he? He went for 50 in 3.5 overs, and generally they've needed him to come to the party. As I've said a few times, that their bowling is their strength, but there's a couple of standouts within the unit, and if they don't both perform, the two men on screen pretty much now is Graham Hume and Captain Andy McBride, then they're in a bit of strife. And Graham Hume didn't really come to the party yesterday. Good tight lines, just not giving any width for Swapnil Modgill to get his hands through. So a couple of singles to start things off, and after the first over, Munster Reds 2 without loss.
Yeah, that's much more what we're used to from Hume. Pretty tight opening over. Saying no width on offer for Modgill. And yeah, he was up against, of course, Tim Tector and Christopheridis, top 2 run scorers in the tournament this season. So pretty difficult opening against those two for anybody.
Yeah, they just take everyone on, don't they? And the combination of the style of play of the two of them and differences in height and different strengths makes it difficult to change your plan and adjust when they rotate the strike, which they do really well. Tim Tector tends to take it on kind of first over, and Christopheridis looks to rotate strike and then get into his innings, so quite different in their approaches to the game.
Ryan Macbeth, similarly, a little bit difficult yesterday with no swing. See if he can get some today a little bit, but it's come off the outside half of the bat, beats the man at backward point, runs away for the first boundary. Stephen Doheny's off and running.
Yeah, first boundary for the Munster Reds, and he does need that swing, Macbeth. But yeah, just very watchful Stephen Doheny, making sure to get in good positions. He played a false shot yesterday. He went across the line of the ball, and he'll have been disgusted with that because it's such a long day, isn't it? Opening the batting, and you make one mistake. Different story if you're got out, but it really came down to batter error, you'd have to say. Similar to that delivery, who was it who got him out yesterday? Shaped it back in. It
was Tom Mays.
Tom Mays. It was just angled in, wasn't it? It didn't really swing.
Not really. It just angled in.
Held its line.
Held its line more than anything. Yeah. But he was inconsolate as he walked off. It took an eternity for him to walk off because, as you say, he probably knows then I've got to sit here and watch this, haven't got myself out, rather than sort of being done with a ball that sort of swung or nipped back. Or
I think there would have been consolation when they won the game. He was captain yesterday. He's back into just the regular team today. Curtis Camphor taking on captaincy duties.
Yeah, definitely that would have been part of it, that he got out in the first over and hadn't contributed at all. No score, but then obviously once the batting innings has been done, then he switched into captaincy mode and knows he's got to affect the game through that method. Doesn't bowl obviously, but can affect the game through his captaincy, and certainly the comeback from the Reds yesterday was something to behold. That's well bowled.
Sometimes watchfulness can get you into trouble. That's not the way Stephen Doheny usually plays, and it came off the PJ Moore, as I like to call it, the inside edge.
He's been down into that short fine leg area.
We were talking yesterday about the positives of having fixtures like this tournament where it's 4 festivals, and some of it's being able to see like a lot of the same players, so you get to see them improve, how they deal with being maybe out of form. One of the things is that you end up coming up with silly nicknames like bowler's long stop, and
things can stick very quickly.
Yeah,
probably over these 12 days we've probably said similar things quite regularly. There's probably a few hashtags going about out there.
I was watching the India-England women's game last night, and I was listening to phrases that the commentators were saying, and I was like, oh, I'm bored of that phrase, and I realised it was because we've been saying
probably said something similar. Yeah. They're obviously copying us, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
Must be. They've been tuning in.
Well, what they did have is a catching contest between Lauren Winfield Hill and Simon Dill. Who won the contest?
Dilly's eyes have gone, I think.
11 without loss after 2.
I think his eyes are away.
Yeah, he was not good. He was really very poor. They were giving out about England's catching on the boundary and then showing what should be done. And Lauren Winfield Hill obviously is still playing. It's not a fair contest. But Simon Dill did not cover himself in glory. Have a look back if you
definitely be tuning in. Have a bit of a look.
They showed it a few times through the game as well, as you can imagine.
Yeah, there's that. I think the men's team were playing Australia a few years ago, and they had a YouTube clip of Nasser Hussain and Ponting at slip.
Nasser Hussain shelled everything and Ponting
everything.
Got everything, yeah.
Yeah. Hume again.
We'd have a good contest because I know you're a fielding man, Ali.
Yep. Yep.
Another couple to the total.
That's about the only thing I had in my locker, really. Didn't have much else. Could field for sure.
It's pretty much the same as me these days.
Well, that's my old days.
Solitary.
That was my entire days. You had a bit more to your arrows than back in the day. So Graham Hume just thinking with the field.
Yeah, slip is out, which is good news for Stephen Doherty and Swapnil Modgill. Andy Balburney into mid-wicket.
Oh, there you go.
Edge. It's. Will we give him that? Was that on purpose from Stephen Doherty?
Well, I'll put it this way, Graham Hume doesn't think so. He's absolutely distraught. He's taken out the slip, but...
Look at this from Doherty. It looks...
He's opened it a little bit, but I'm not sure. It's been a tough one for Balburney.
I'll ask him later. I think he will actually tell the truth. Some players
Yeah,
will always
no,
say it's... they'll always go, oh yeah, I meant that. But that's Stephen Doherty will go, oh no, that wasn't on purpose at all.
Yeah, I think back to that 150 he got, he was dropped on 43, I think, and he was pretty upfront about that when he, at the end, he made a real point of, well, I should have only got 43.
Yeah, it was a real drop, and that's a drop and run of real quality. You don't see too many of those. But takes the pace right off Stephen Doherty, and there is a good understanding between these two, despite the fact that we've seen one horror run in, some horror running. They bat together in club, they bat together for the Munster Reds.
Yeah, think back to that. Going back to that 150, that was the day that he ran out. Swapnil Modgill, second ball of the day, I think. That's hit well. That'll be opening boundary for Modgill. He's got plenty of that. Once it beats point, going to run away for 4. A couple of boundaries, one a little bit streaky from Doherty, but that one much more confident from Swapnil Modgill.
Yeah, on the front foot, and that extra bit of lift from that end, sometimes getting him in trouble, in particular Swapnil Modgill, but didn't quite hit the ridge on that occasion, Graham Hume. So it's the second boundary in the over, and he's fighting to get out of it now. That's a beautiful shot. It doesn't quite have the power to beat Andy McBride in mid-off.
Poor old Andy McBride was at cover yesterday and was
you really remind me, yeah.
bombarded yesterday by Tector and
Thinking it was the exact same thing. One of my favourite moments, well, not my favourite moment, but the moment when it felt like you're kind of part of the Northwest Warriors team and you had to feel for it. Like, Leinster Lightning batted so well, but they had already batted, well, only 2 wickets down for Northwest Warriors. And then Graham Hume bowled a wide when they needed 2 to win.
That's correct, he did. He bowled a wide. It was only he didn't bowl another wide to end the game. That would have really taken the biscuit.
That would have finished McBride off. That's that over finish. 2 singles to get out of the over, but 13 from it. 3 gone, 24 without loss.
A little bit of a look for the skies there for Graham Hume. I think that little nick through slip, he just taken out Balburney, but pay the price if you do make that choice.
Yeah, I don't know why he did, to be honest. There was a sedate start from Munster Reds. You're still getting a bit of swing, and if not swing, he does, when he hits the right area, he gets a little bit of extra lift. So it seemed unnecessary to me. Stephen Doherty just walking across his stumps.
Yeah, real straight line there from Ryan Macbeth. 3 overs gone here. If the date start from Modgill, I could see him maybe still looking to knock it around for a while, but I just get the feeling that if Stephen Doherty gets back on strike here in the 4th over, he might look to target Ryan Macbeth here in his 2nd over. That's well bowled. Good lines to Modgill. That's what they've got to target the Warriors. Doesn't look to be an opening batsman at the minute that's looking to take the bowler off his length or line.
No.
He just seems to be standing in a...
Well, I think whenever he's gambled, it hasn't paid off. So if he's danced down or, you know, moved around the crease, it's like he's guessing wrong. He doesn't seem to be able to read what the bowlers are trying to do. And then that can mean you just stand and then the bowler can just stay on the length. So it's a tough spot to be in.
You see the difference here from yesterday. There's not much swing here from Ram McBeth, maybe a little bit more than yesterday. It was very, very little in the afternoon yesterday. But the difference here is that Tector and De Freitas, left hand, right hand, switching lanes, and they were going after McBeth. And Ram McBeth is at his best when he can just bowl to a batter and know exactly what he's going to do, really. And if he keeps a line here, be happy with that. A couple of dot balls there in the over and a single now. As I say, maybe even added to Doheney's thoughts now, a little bit of pressure with just 2 coming from the first couple. Can he hold himself in here, or is he going to try and take on McBeth?
It'd be interesting to see, because it looks like he's kind of said, right, this is my last opportunity. I want to make a big one. He beats the fielder in third. Just a little dab down. Good use of the pace. A little bit of width on offer from McBeth, and a boundary for Stephen Doheney with the minimum of effort.
Yeah, no risk there, really. Just let it come on, and maybe just hoping that he would get a single there, but it takes a little hop past Josh Wilson there. He gets the boundary. Again, as you say, no risk there. Didn't take a chance on it. Picks up a boundary, moves to 22 from just 12.
It's interesting to see the change from Stephen Doheney, as that decent over from Ryan McBeth, just 6 from it. 30 with that loss after 4. When he was in the Ireland team, he was only in for a short time, but his strength was kind of the short ball outside off, and he'd cut well, but then he'd cut too much and he'd get out caught behind or cotton point or whatever it was. Since then, I think he's much more likely to use the pace rather than go through the full-blooded shot like we've just seen there, rather than try and whack it for 4, which feels a lot better.
Well,
he's like watching it onto the bat much more.
I definitely think that. I think he's definitely letting the ball come on to him a little bit more now. I would say it's a little bit different in that we watched Cork the first week, where it was a short, sort of straight, a lot shorter than we've seen since. And I did mention that day, I did think that his power hitting was better that day, but you know, since then, bigger grounds, etc., he does tend to have gone back to letting the bowler bowl at him and working around a lot more. And you know, maybe today, as I say, he's got 22 off 13 without really hitting any power shots.
Does, you know, you still get the runs. What's the does it have to be 4 over extra cover, or like what's, you still get the same number of runs when it goes over the rope? Change of bowling, Jared Wilson into the attack.
Yeah, we've been sort of discussing that after games, that those guys in Irish cricket can hit the ball 90 metres, but you know, some can just hit it 70 metres, but doesn't matter. Still the same amount you get at the minute. The rules haven't changed. Is it better to hit sort of 90 metres than 70? It doesn't really matter, as I say. Oh, it's a good ball from Wilson. We were just talking about his performance back in Belfast a few weeks back when he ripped through the Northern Knights in that rain-affected game.
Yeah, that was quite something. He was not the guy I was thinking was going to do it.
I remember that day, yeah. He took 4 wickets that day, and just, we didn't even think he would bowl 2 overs, because it was only a couple of bowlers that could bowl 2. He took 4 wickets off his 2 overs.
And the frustration now for Swapping and Modgill. As soon as you see something like that, the guy down the other end, I don't know, do they teach you this in Irish cricket? Just walk down and do some gardening and give him a bit of a pump up.
I think that's just one of those body language things. Not even sure he said anything there. Just when you see somebody coming towards you, it seems to have worked, because Modgill gets that dead straight, but got the ball for it, over pitched from Wilson, straight down the ground. Modgill picks up another boundary there for him.
Yeah, the length too full, straight as well, parried down the ground. I don't know what that hit, a footmark. Skips away to the boundary. That'll make him feel a lot better. He's been sweating on the ones outside off, but sometimes when the bowler strays onto the stumps, it can be a little bit easier.
Yeah, the difference with that was the length. You know,
yeah.
Macbeth had been bowling, sort of Bale height sort of length, but that was too full, and yeah, Modgill was able to hit it down the ground.
Goes for the ramp shot. Is there a chance? No. Good innovation and a little bit of a teaser. Good effort in the deep, but yeah, that one will hurt for Josh Wilson. The roll over the rope, never good.
Boundary the ball before, and then down to try the ramp. Comes off just. Get all of it, and yep. You have to go for it, but Josh Wilson might have said to himself, "Nah, I should have just left that in the end," because, as you say, it's right on the end of the rope there, and it can be painful. So back-to-back boundaries after 3 dot balls to start the over. They'll run a ball now, Modgill. Goes big on the leg side. There's nobody out there. That'll be a 1 bounce. I think umpire's just checking in front of us here. And there's 1 bounce. My eyes haven't failed me completely. It is a boundary, so 3 fours to finish the over. Modgill moves on to 20.
Yeah, good finish for him. 3 dots. Jared Wilson would have been feeling good, but then 3 fours to close out the over. That was a real step hit length from Jared Wilson. 42 that loss after 5. And yeah, good to see Swapping and Modgill playing that ramp shot. I don't know if we've seen him play it, have we?
Not
if we've
really
seen him try it, I don't think it's come off.
I'm not even sure he's tried it, really, to be honest with you. Cynic would say he hasn't been out there long
Yeah,
enough.
I was just thinking. I was looking at his numbers. They're not as bad as.
Not quite.
They're not as bad as that would lead you to believe, because he's had a bit of a comeback this week, hasn't he? Swapping on Modgill. It was 33 as well on the first day up in Breedy, and then a couple of lowish but middling scores in the first 2 days this week. He's on 20 now. If he gets to 26, will be his highest score for the week.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about this quite a lot, that this is the last day of the festival. People will want to finish on a high. Getting selected today, you want to go out of the tournament with a score or a good bowling performance, especially if you haven't done as much as you had hoped.
Andy McBride into the attack. He's done plenty this week.
Yeah, definitely not in that category. McBride. There's McBride on your screen. Captain of the Warriors.
He's taken wickets in pretty much every game. Andy McBride didn't bowl in the second game back in Cork. If you remember, he got hit in the shoulder.
That's right.
He didn't bowl in that game, and then there was the game the next day. They lost to the Northern Knights, wicketless in that one. But other than that, every single game he's taken at least one.
This is some performance for a guy who's not currently in the T20 plans for Ireland.
Yeah, 13 wickets in the tournament so far.
So far, indeed.
Strange to see the ball going out there and it's not Cameron Malley doing the fielding.
Yeah, that's right. On the field today. He also throw in his economy rate, McBride, for somebody's taking wickets and off spinner. He's around about a run a ball in T20 cricket here in this tournament. So add wickets to a low economy rate, and that's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, well, you often see them together because if you've got good economy, then you're forcing people to make a mistake. One ball to go in the power play. It's been a good finish for the Northwest Warriors. Slightly quicker delivery. They'll take that single. 46 without loss at the end of the power play.
Yeah, a little bit of respect shown to Andy McBride there. Just the 4 singles off that last over in the power play. But let's see, the Reds will be reasonably happy with that. No wickets. I think this may have been the first time in the whole tournament they've gone through the 6 overs without losing a wicket. Have to check that. This is their final game, as we keep referring to, but 46 without loss. Downey on 24, Swapna Milgill on 22. So it'll be Robbie Miller. Came into the side yesterday, a couple of wickets for him. He's bowled well over the tournament. Isabel Joyce is going to have a little 15-minute sunbathe here in Pembroke. It's absolutely glorious, and delighted to have Dave Surratt with us once again. These middle overs. What do you think of the power play? I think the Reds be pretty happy, Dave.
Yeah, be very happy, I think. Fascinating here to see leg spin into the attack, but what a glorious day it is. I'm not sure if anyone's quite sunbathing unless they're just looking for shade. Anyway, you can find it in the ground.
Yeah, not sure you could ask for a better day to conclude the festivals in Ireland this year. Robbie Miller, nicely flighted. There's a little bit of hesitation there, but come through for the single.
Yeah, it's a good start here from Miller. Slower through the air, but he's been rewarded here because he's bowled well in the competition.
Yeah, I've referred to it quite a lot that he came in Cork and impressed in Cork. Probably pre-tournament wouldn't have been somebody from those outside of the Northwest maybe would have known much about. Plays at the Eglinton club, but he's come in Cork and bowled well that day and has kept his place in the side. And for me, that's kind of a little bit about what this tournament's about. You know, yes, the internationals are going to try and vie for international spots, but you got a guy like Robbie Miller here can come in and perform well in this environment. Down the ground, out towards Ralston, it's just going away from him. That's a good piece of fielding in the end. Difficult for him, it was just slicing away from him into that pocket, but he manages to get up and just tap it down before it goes over his head.
Lovely bit of footwork there from Modgill. Just playing it slightly inside out, and then nice piece of cricket there, palming it in. There on the boundary from the fielder.
Go square. It's going to be a difficult one. Well fielded on the boundary again. Just that extra little spin that may take it away from. It's Darren Wilson down there.
Yeah, I was thinking that was Wilson. We've seen Egan out there sometimes, but some very nice work out there. Yeah, you mentioned Miller coming into the competition. Maybe some of us slept on Miller, and he's showing us up now. He's been very impressive to right-handers and left-handers. Comes round the wicket to left-handers, but his accuracy, he can make that switch quite easily. Sometimes you feel with the matchup, a left-hander against the right-hander is a way to target the right-arm wrist spinner.
Yeah, well bowled again. Ends the over. Just 6 off the Miller, 7 rather, off the Miller over. And in that over 7th, these two go through to a 50 partnership coming from those 42 deliveries, 53 now. Just passed it earlier in the over. Yeah, Robbie Miller kind of, I don't really ever do these sort of fantasy leagues that do like these sort of things. Robbie Miller would have been a decent pick in this because he'd have been pretty unknown at the start of the tournament, quite low rated, and he's gone up and taken, I think he's up 10, 12, 13 wickets now. So he'd have done really well in your fantasy team, nice and cheap.
Would have been a good pick.
Good pick.
For those who knew their onions, Eglinton from the Northwest.
Here's his wicket. Here is his wicket yet again. We've just been talking about the fact that Andy McBride's almost always picked up wickets for the Northwest Warriors. Only one game really where he hasn't. Well, he's done it again. Swapna Modgill just doesn't get the purchase on the ball that he wanted. He's gone for 27 from 26 and the first wicket falls for the Munster Reds on 53.
Yeah, how often does this happen? You usually see it in the first over, it makes an immediate impact. This time in the second for McBride. Just a bit slower, hangs it up. Such a good read of the batter.
Yeah, he so is. You know, he just seems in this tournament and throughout his career that he can just hold that ball back just that little bit and entice the batter to go for that on drive, off drive, and doesn't get there. And when it goes in the air, he's got mid on and mid off back. So many wickets he gets caught down there, or the batter thinks they've got there, and just at the last moment they're not in position to play the shot. But another wicket from McBride. He gets the breakthrough. That brings PJ Moore out to the middle. 53 for 1.
And as you get settled in, maybe I can quickly ask you, moment of the festival.
Oh,
what's it for you?
Wow.
Moments, maybe. We'll open
moments.
it up.
Open it up to moments. That's a good one now. Bit of recency, maybe. I'm trying to think 3 weeks back to Cork. Yeah, that's a good one now.
Well, maybe have a think about it.
Well, Ruben Wilson's catch here on Tuesday was certainly a highlight. Just one of those ones that just flies at him. So it was certainly something that I remember very, very clearly. Muir gets off the strike, just a single.
Yeah, it's just such a good catch, and then obviously in the context of the game, that triple wicket maiden at the time, and just that side feeling so comfortable, so happy together. They're really enjoying their cricket. You really get a sense of that, and they were just so thrilled, so chuffed with that catch.
Was in the gap. No, well done to Josh Wilson. Been busy in that little area there. Yeah, and just the emergence of some players, and Matt Hollard's come along and bowled quick. I think the ball he bowled to Jake Egan, first ball he faced, was a real sharp one. It took Jake Egan's gloves through to the keeper. That was just one of those sort of video wickets, if you want, that you see back in the old days. It comes on, he throws the head back and takes the glove through to the keeper. That was a standout delivery for me.
Yeah, it's something you do enjoy seeing, that piece of quicker bowling maybe. Just catching the batter on the hop.
In terms of just a day for cricket, I don't really think you could beat today, really. It's beautiful out there. A little bit itchy here to go put the whites or the colours back on again and get back out there, maybe. It's really nice out there. Give you a little buzz. Decent over from McBride with the wicket. Very tight again. Great stuff from the Warrior skipper yet again. He's got his team their first wicket. 56 for 1. There's your bowling card. Just that one over from Wilson for 12, but otherwise economy rates are good and exceptional when it comes to the skipper. Just 3.5 from his 2 overs.
A decent start there from Miller as he gets settled into his work. We have him here for his second over. Yeah, it must be so handy as a captain just to be able to put yourself into the attack and get wickets when required. It makes the job just that little bit easier.
Yep, Miller in for his second. Throws that up to PJ Moore. Just be a single out there. Okay, Dave, you put me on the spot. I've given you a couple. You've been around all 12 days, so give us one of your moments.
I think it has to be that close finish we had in Stormont between the Warriors and the Munster Reds. Lee McCarthy, 6-4, 6-6 of the last 4 deliveries. You were calling it, Ali.
Yeah.
What a moment that must have been.
Well, it was, and it actually came after 2 dot balls, and Graham Hume had bowled 2 dot balls to McCarthy, and almost we need 19 off the final over, which is what the Reds needed. And the first 2 balls are dots. That's in the air from Doheny. He got enough on it. It's going to be tight. Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic work out there from those 2. Judging it beautifully. Ex-Ireland skipper takes the catch, Andrew Balbirnie, and that'll just give Northwest Warriors and Balbirnie a little buzz there. You can see him smiling. Takes the catch and has the wherewithal just to lob it up. It'll probably go down as Jared Wilson's catch in the end, but all about Balbirnie.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look back at this. Lovely piece of work there in the boundary. They always do a good bit of work in this when you see the warm-ups. Just getting a bit cute there in the boundary. Just keeping the ball in. Have a look here now. And straight up in the air. The 2 fielders out.
We're coming quite close here now. Just watch Balbirnie here. Takes the catch and then just has a look and just makes sure that he's not going to go over the rope. There you go. And they love it. They love it. And Jared Wilson just looks at his partner and says, "Thank you very much. I'll put that down as a catch for me." But the assist, let's say, goes to Andrew Balbirnie and Robbie Miller. He takes the wicket.
There you go. Yeah, Miller gets it as well.
Yeah, so he'll chalk another one up. Robbie Miller, bag a new set of fantasy points.
There you go. Fantasy league for next year.
Yeah, definitely get it sorted. Good stuff from the Warriors. It gets rid of Doheny. We haven't even mentioned that it was Doheny that has gone. So back-to-back overs with wickets for the Warriors. Got rid of the 2 openers. 2 new batters at the crease now, and PJ Moore, and off the mark there, Curtis Camphor coming back into the side today.
Yeah, massive wicket getting rid of Doheny. Miller doing a job for his captain. Exactly what he would have wanted.
Yeah, Robbie Miller trying the old burgle there, appealing. Give it as a wide. Didn't hit anything.
Yeah, just sliding down.
Yeah, that's just floated up from Robbie Miller, and even though he's just in to the middle, PJ Moore's not going to miss out there. Thrown up and dispatched by Moore.
Yeah, Miller has to be slightly careful with his length because he's just a little bit slower than maybe your Ben Whites. So just needs to be careful. I mean, it can be an advantage. He got the Doheny wicket there earlier in the over. But just has to be so careful with his length here.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Don't think that being a little bit of a slower leg spinner has been a hindrance really this week. It's just the length, and then the drag down almost inevitably follows. You've been bludgeoned down the ground for a straight 6. Almost always you get a sort of drag down to follow it.
Yeah, he's been put under a bit of pressure here by the new batter.
It's gone as well. Gain length. PJ Moore's able to get under it. It's a shorter boundary, straight. We've talked about it all week. If you can get the leverage underneath the ball and go straight, you get a good piece of it, as Moore did there. Chances are you're going to clear the boundary rope. He does twice. The end of that over. 17 from it. Good one for the Munster Reds. They moved to 73 for 2.
Yeah, big over there. I think it was just that overcorrection. It was very full, then bowled that wide one, maybe dragged it down, just tried to go a bit shorter into the pitch, which is not really his modus operandi. And then went fuller again, and then was dispatched. McBride to continue.
Yeah, leading edge there into Graham Human. Just thought maybe McBride would try and sneaking over in here while Camphor's taking a look to get into his innings. Thought maybe he'd go into somebody else, as I say, maybe to sneak one in, but he's going to bowl his third.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about it, that third over, whether you wouldn't say McBride gets lined up too often in terms of his instincts, just mixing it up, doesn't let the batter settle. But he's opted for the third here. Nicely swept.
That's going to be 4. Spins away from Robbie Miller out in the boundary. Just sort of a top spin on that as PJ Moore went on the sweep. Again, we've mentioned it all week. As soon as it hits the turf here, it's a hard outfield. As I say, just a little bit of top spin on that. As it kicks off the turf, it's always going to run away from the bounder fielder. And PJ Moore, he's picked up 2 sixes in the previous over. Now boundary there. Moved on to 19.
PJ Moore flying along.
Let's say slightly quicker there from McBride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slightly quicker ball.
Miller maybe just thinking about those 2 sixes off his previous over. Bit of time to stew and think in the boundary, but not too much time to think about it when he's chasing deliveries, spinning away from him.
Yeah, that's the class of Curtis Camphor. Steps away to the leg side, gets the ball in the slot that he wanted, and deposits that almost into the bar area. If you can follow the ball here, I think it just, here we go, just watch that door. Ooh, almost in for a pint. Lovely shot from Camphor, and just takes a single. So yeah, maybe we called that right. Maybe that one over from McBride too many. He goes for 13 from that one. 2 good overs back to back for the Munster Reds, and after 10, the halfway point, they've moved on to 85 for 2.
It was a beautiful shot from Curtis Camphor, just moving away, playing up and over, kind of slightly inside out, getting into that bar as we mentioned. Little drinks break going on in the middle. Temperatures soaring. Haven't quite got a reading yet, but I can tell you it's quite hot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We'll not complain. I spoke to a few players this morning. It was pretty hot yesterday in the afternoon game. All starting to get a little bit heated, and they said, well, you'd rather have that than sort of cold and damp conditions. You'd rather play in a bit of sunshine, even though it sometimes can get a little bit uncomfortable. I think that's fair enough. And I think on the last day of the tournament, this is the first drinks break we've had. We've had no cause for it, but today, absolutely, we're going to make sure that players get fully hydrated. The halfway point.
Yeah, much needed. But in terms of moments, if we can return to that for a second, Tim Tector yesterday with that T20 100, absolutely remarkable magic moment, really, like incredible to see. Just even some of the, got a little glimpse of some of the photos the photographer took. You could see it all on Tector's face. Relief, just feeling it all the emotion to be in Pembroke, his home ground, to get that score.
He's been knocking on the door of 100 for the past 2-3 seasons. You know, as we've referenced a few times, he's top run scored over the last 2 years in the tournament, and he'll probably do that again today. We'll get back to that in a second. If we look at the Reds card there, and similar scores for Modgill and Dohenay. And I really like our graphic there, giving the assist to Andrew Balbirnie with that catch. If you haven't seen it, it was on the boundary. He took the catch and then lobbed it up to Jared Wilson. So I like that little assist for Balbirnie. 27 for Dohenay, 27 for Modgill. And not out batters at the moment. PJ Moore on 20 off just 8. And Curtis Camphor, he's got his innings off and running with that 6 off the last over.
Brian's economy there. The bowling card still very good, but went a bit there in his third over. Bowling change here. Miller was expensive in his second.
Yeah,
looks like we've Josh Wilson.
Yeah, coming into the side again today. He's played most games for the Warriors. Missed out yesterday, but back in today. Oh, certainly a little nick there, but no contact. Camphor. Yeah, just nipping back to Tim Tector. Say he's had scores in the 80s and 90s, but yesterday you could see how much he wanted to get to those 3 figures, and when he did, it was exultation from him. He had a big shout, so it is important for him to get to those 3 figures, as it should be for every cricketer. But right here in Dublin, 100 for the Leinster Lightning. That's down the ground from Camphor. Missed out on the first ball, but had his sighter, and second ball takes the aggressive option, and straight as a die over the bowler's and umpire's head for another 6. Putting the foot down the Reds.
Yeah, dispatched. He's seen it all right.
Yeah, well watched by the camera. It's heading towards them. Never easy when the ball's heading towards the cameraman. Just to stay down, follow the ball. Good job. A little bit shorter, pulled into the deep, but Jared Wilson will field that.
Yeah, we nearly had one incident yesterday. The photographer just almost getting hit by. I can't remember who hit it in the end.
There's been a lot of cricket, Dave. There's been a lot of cricket.
But it's just coming at the photographer. The photographer just playing it inside the line. Played the short ball well.
He did. I think he's in the same position right now.
Yeah, be careful in the clubhouse.
It's the danger area. PJ Moore. Strike now. That one's lifted off that little ridge we've talked about. In the middle.
Yeah, just a bit of nip.
I think we're going to possibly name that the McCarthy Ridge, because he's been hitting it for the past few years here at Pembroke in the club game and the under pros.
I think he'd be thrilled with that. I think he'd enjoy that.
Yeah. I'll find another little moment.
Yep.
In my head, you mentioned about Tim Tector's 100 yesterday. So back here again, so maybe a bit recency bias again. I'll keep you on suspense for a moment. Oh, and Josh Wilson kicks the ground in frustration. Toe end edge from PJ Moore on another day. And hits the glove of Sam Topping, but today goes wide of him. Just can't get across, and there you see Wilson's frustration as that runs away for 4.
Who'd be a bowler?
Yeah.
Like kick of disgust.
Just wide of Topping, and maybe it's just PJ Moore's day, possibly. He's on to 24 now, of just 10. He's one of those players we're talking about who hasn't had a great tournament, but last day, you know, he can change all of that and come out of the tournament on a happy note if he can put a big score on today.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see who might come to the party on this final day. Last little opportunity just to maybe sneak in, get your name in the hat, maybe get a little mention, do something special on this wonderful sunny day in Pembroke.
Yeah, so that little moment was on Tuesday here. It was 15.5 overs, I think, on the clock, and the Leinster Lightning needed 2 runs to win. Morgan Tucker was on strike, and the bowler bounced him, and he was down to ramp it. Actually managed to catch up with the ball and almost hit it when it was past him. He was actually turned around almost and hit the ball over the top of the keeper for 4. And even that was sensational, but just the celebration afterwards and the sort of astonishment in Harry Tenter's face that he'd actually made contact with it. It was just a little moment to savour.
Yeah, it was the moment to win the game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Scott Macbeth comes on, and PJ Moore welcomes him by depositing it into the gardens, I think. Yep. Straight away from Moore. That brings up the 100 for the Munster Reds, and just over these past 3 overs or so, they've really put the accelerator down. And as I say, they're up over the 100 mark already. Yeah, you can see that one just disappearing over the wall there. That'll be another new ball required. There's Johnny Kennedy. Busy men, our umpires over these 4 weeks.
Getting their steps in, certainly. You probably could have snuck on some drinks if you were really careful. Oh, maybe not. That's quick. I think we're back to it now.
Yeah, they're on the ball, literally.
But yeah, very well met by PJ Moore. Perhaps hasn't featured too much in this competition, but seems to be enjoying himself at the moment. 31 off 12.
Pressure on Macbeth straight away. That's in the slot as well, but he doesn't get onto this one. I think he'd be a little bit disappointed there. That was full again. We've talked over these past couple of overs about straight boundaries here. Pembroke, a little bit more accessible. The square are a little bit further. How does Camphor go here? He's scoring at a strike rate of 200, but the minute he's being put in the shade, he goes downtown again, and once again, same result. And the fielder down there again doesn't even bother to look at that one as it sails over his head. These two have very, very quickly put on a 50 partnership. Camphor going straight down the ground, you can see there. Andy McBride just doesn't even attempt it. There's your 50 partnership. I think that's one of the quickest we've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
18 balls, just 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Yeah, the length, I think there is the key issue. Brian just has such a good feel for the ground. Of course, he's played a huge amount of cricket up and down the country. Maybe just a little word to his young off spinner. He himself is a very good competitor, so he probably have a sense himself that wasn't quite where it should have been. I think he's gone round, I think.
He's going to come around the wicket here. Tries to get it into the hip of Curtis Camphor, but that brings its own perils then. You're opening up the leg side then, and it's a little, well, I wouldn't say it was an underedge, but he's got a bit of bat on it, and then once you do that, down the leg side, it's going to run away quickly.
Okay, got enough from that. Here he goes again.
Well, must have taken a little bit on the way through because it's not giving us a wide. Again, Camphor going on the sweep. He'll get out of the over with a single, but another expensive one for the Warriors.
Yeah, better piece of bowling there from Macbeth to finish off. But it opens up its own perils there, as you mentioned, going around the wicket. Opens up a few more angles for Curtis Camphor. Square on the leg side. He'll have his compass out, his protractor. Pick out those gaps between the fielders.
Yeah, just looking at the last few overs. The 9th went for 16, 10th for 13, and 12. And that means that the last 5 overs, you can see, 62 for 2. So it's been a real piece of acceleration from the Reds. Set up nicely now, 8 overs to go. You can see on your screen, I was about to say, if 200 was an option here for the Warriors, that's your predictor at the moment at 198. So what's your call, Dave? The Warriors keep it below 200, or will the Reds be just the third team to get to 200?
It could well be possible, I think. But what's incredible to see is these two batters have just sensed this little moment in the game to really go at it, take it by the scruff of the neck. They're really micro moments in the T20 game. You have to have a sense for it. It's going up and over.
It does make it. Although the skipper gives him a little round of applause there, and that maybe slightly deceived the batter, but Camphor's good enough to get enough bat on it, but mid on, mid off up, and yes, it's not a full delivery, which is what he's trying to avoid, but just the length, and I think that tells you a little bit about the pitch. I spoke to Curtis Camphor at the toss, and he said that he wanted to bat first because he thought this pitch would play as true as it has all week today with the sun on it. That's why he wanted to bat. It seemed pretty true there. Full ball now. Get away with that a little bit. Change the field. Yeah, they put mid on and mid off back for that delivery, so he went full.
Yeah, those are the perils. You can get your length right and deceive the batter, and still disappear.
Yeah, kind of tells you it's a pretty decent wicket. That's really unlucky for Scott Macbeth. He's got a terrific hand to that. He's racing away, possibly for another boundary. Puts his right hand out to stop it, and it just gets away from him. And these days, they're so adept at witnessing if the ball gets away from the fielder, even for a few yards, they get back for two.
Yeah, what a good piece of fielding that was. Really well, just got away from Macbeth. Good piece of cricket all around, really, in terms of being able to get a good mid to it and then eyeing up that second run, the two batters. Just having a great sense for it. Coming at just under 10, the Reds. Some good work in the deep there, but from Macbeth.
PJ Moore just ruins that little bit of symmetry there for the two batters. If he got a dot ball, it would be 34 off 15 for both of them. Both scoring over at 200. And they've just accelerated this innings. You mentioned there about sensing moments. Usually T20 cricket, you know, you'll go hard in the power play, and then if you get a good power play, you settle in those middle overs to go again at the end. But the Reds have had a pretty decent power play, 46 without loss, but then they lost those two wickets back-to-back overs. But these two have really grasped this here and kicked on in these middle overs. Can they keep it going to the end though? McBrien's come in there. He gets it in a rare dot ball, finishes the over. Josh Wilson 22 from his. As I say, Munster Reds batters just grasping this period. There you can see the innings so far. 78 deliveries of just 24 dot balls, plenty of boundaries. 17 in total, 10 fours and 7 big sixes. That gives us 125 for 2. This beautiful day here in Dublin. Andy McBrien's going to come back into the bowling attack, and Isabel Joyce is going to come back to the commentary box.
Yeah, sorry, I was away for a little while there because just listening to Chris Brown talk about spin bowling, and it's just hard to tear myself away. This is a chance. If I got a wicket straight away, it might fall between them. Oh, what a catch that is. Brilliantly judged. And it's Jake Egan in the deep there. That's the second catch like that we've seen him take in a couple of days, diving forward. It seemed to be up there forever. And PJ Moore would have been thinking he was in with a chance to survive. But he's taken one risk too many. 35 from 16, 2 fours, 3 sixes, done a good job for his team.
Well, he has. He was just trying to keep that momentum going. And watch this catch from Jake Egan. A little hollow there. Just that little step at the end there. He misjudged it, but because he'd kept the ball in front of him, hadn't gone too far, again he can then adjust and can then go across to his left. And as you say, he took one like that yesterday, a little bit more comfortable yesterday, and then he kept the ball in his eye line. Just lost his footing a little bit in that catch, but doesn't really matter. It'll go down as a caught Egan, and he grabs another wicket for Andy McBride. He's now 2 for 20. PJ Moore goes, brings Philippe Leroux to the middle. He's still got pretty much 7 overs to bat here, so it's not as if he's coming in for just a 2 over dip here. He's got 7 overs to bat. Camphor's on 34 at the other end.
Camphor just looking a different gravy, isn't he? So Philippe Leroux, fresh off a 50 yesterday, who's dropped on 2. He won't want to give an opportunity early on here. The catching has been pretty good from the Northwest Warriors. Northern Knights yesterday shelled a few chances. PJ Moore and Philippe Leroux.
Yeah, Camphor's made it look pretty easy out there, you have to say. He was good on Tuesday in his first appearance the season after that really unfortunate injury. He's just reminding people he's back on the scene here.
Yeah, I think when you think about the couple of innings we've seen so far, obviously he's still out there now, 35 from 17, but the innings on Tuesday as well, you really lament the fact that he missed that West Indies series. How important he could have been, more so with bat than with ball probably, but even with ball, you're really missing him.
He just gives you that option, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a sort of guy you can throw a ball to if it's getting a little bit difficult, and let's be honest, it got a little bit difficult at times for Ireland in that, in the ODI series and the T20.
Yeah, 100%, and he always wants to be bowling, so and he often only gets the opportunity when the team's under the pump.
Yep.
So he's used to being thrown the ball in difficult situations. And Philippe Leroux looks to turn one leg side. A little bit of extra pace from Andy McBride. He's been so good. Adds a 3rd wicket to his tally right at the end of his spell. Bookends his final over as well. He's brought himself back on to try and stall this innings. He's done just that. Leroux goes for 2 from 3. And Munster Reds losing wickets in clumps, 129 for 4.
Well, it's going to be his last ball of this IP Trophy 2025 season. What a ball to finish on. He's just been nagging away, and you just got the feeling that Leroux was in that mode of, I'm just going to play for singles. And how often do you see that? Somebody trying to work the ball away to leg, and middle stump gets taken out.
Yeah, the length. That was just the wrong length to try and work to leg side. Usually from a spinner like that off the front foot, you don't want it to be hitting the top of middle. 3 wickets for 24. He was 2 for 24 yesterday, 1 better today. But so consistent. Look at that economy. Exactly as you called it, Ali McCalmont. A runs per over of 6. So just going at a run a ball pretty much across the whole tournament, which has been ultra impressive.
Yeah, it really has. It's not just a one-off sort of performance. It's been sort of game after game. He's turned up. There's going to be work for him to do there. Can't get it, but his partner, Gavin Ralston, will come round.
Yeah, one of the things that Chris Brown was talking about was really interesting to hear, and it's a good way of looking at it as a spinner is how, we've seen spinners find it difficult here, especially day one. They didn't seem to know what pace to bowl on the pitch, and so he's explained it really well to me there, that when he was a youngster, his coach said as that's flipped off, nearly manages to find the fielder, but it's going to be another boundary. Jared Wilson back into the attack for his 2nd over, but within your first 4 balls, he says, you should be able to find the pace of the pitch, and that is bowl maybe as quickly as you can where you feel like you can turn it. If it doesn't turn, pull back the pace a little bit next ball. If it still doesn't turn, pull back the pace This is assuming that you actually turn the ball. and by the fourth ball, you should know the pace to bowl at on that pitch.
Yeah.
So start off like your quickest that you think you can turn it, and then slow down bit by bit. And I just thought that was a really good explanation for any youngster who's like, well, I just bowl like this. This is the pace I bowl.
This is the way I bowl. Yeah.
You need to be able to bowl. And Andy McBride, we know that subtle variations are his strength. So it's no surprise to me that he's the spinner who's found the pace right through it this week. He's taken 7 wickets in the 3 games, 2-2 and 3. He's gone 2 for 28, 2 for 24, 3 for 24. Talk about consistent.
Well, that's what I'm saying about him. He's been consistent right throughout, and particularly this week. Every time he's got the ball, he's looked threatening. And we always talk about, well, an off spinner, not really threatening, but you get the good ones, and they can be. Can't agree with you more there.
Yeah.
I remember I played with just late on, and when I was playing, a professional came across from India, Indrajit Kamtekar. A lot of people in the Northern Cricket Union will know Indrajit, and he was a spinner who did exactly that. That's what he used to say. First over, I'll work out the pitch, and if he knew sort of the batters that he would start to float the ball up, but if he knew it was just a pitch to bowl short on, he would bowl a little bit quicker. And his game was totally about pace, all about the pace of his spinners. 1 week he'd bowl quick, next ball he'd bowl slow. And that was his strength, and it's a similar thing for McBride. He doesn't turn the ball immensely. It's just his variations of pace have kept him at the top for many a year.
John McNally in at number 6. We still haven't checked with him actually exactly what numbers. I don't think he hasn't come out opening the batting.
Nope.
It's definitely been 3. Because he did that against the Northern Knights up in Breedy. He's been at 5. That was yesterday. Or was it 4 yesterday?
He came in 4 yesterday.
Yeah.
Going to get away with that top edge.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised not to see Cian Hilton out at number 6, if I'm honest, because the way he batted yesterday, 50 from 22, I think it was, he was very, very impressive, and they've been very mobile with their batting order, the Munster Reds, so it's not about really settled batting order. And
probably the one team that has changed it up quite a lot, depending on circumstances.
Could just be the left-right hand combination that they tend to like. The Munster Reds probably placing more value on that than most of the teams. Jared Wilson finishes that over, just the 1 boundary in it, so not too bad. But still 10 from it, and with 5 overs to go, Munster Reds have a platform, 139 for 4.
Yeah, you're right, they do have a platform, but it's just been pegged back in the last few overs. Oh, that one went for 10. There's a couple of wickets of Moore and LaRue. There's your card, Modgill and Doheny. Very similar outings for them, 27 each off 26 and 21. Moore got going today, 35 off 16, a really good partnership with Camphor, but LaRue getting up betwixt and between a little bit, trying to just work singles for Camphor. McBride did for him, and we're at 139 for 4. Scott Macbeth, after a bit of a pounding in his first over, comes back from the same end.
Oh dear, has he found the fielder? He's picked him out perfectly. Curtis Camphor trying to go backward of Robbie Miller in deep backward square, doesn't manage to do it, and yet another catch sees the end of a Munster Reds player. Curtis Camphor not able to get to his milestone. He's bereft. 44 from 23 for him. It's been very entertaining, good power hitting, usually really good placement, but not on that occasion.
Yeah, another batter, the Munster Reds, walks off a little bit disconsolate about being dismissed, not got out again. He just hit that straight towards Robbie Miller. Takes the catch.
Nearly went through the hands there, didn't it? Did you see? It was a bit of an ice cream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good thing his hands were so close to his chest, although that probably contributed to nearly being dropped.
Yeah, I used to catch something like that in the chest. It's always there for you. Just hold it in the chest and make sure.
You can't track it. They were talking about you need to watch this masterclass as it was termed, but maybe the talking was the masterclass as opposed to the demos last night on Sky Sports. But Cian Hilton now joins John McNally. I always wonder the mindset of someone who's coming in the day after a good outing. You've just made 50 from 22. How do you start again? Tim Tector has kind of figured that out, hasn't he? And Christopher Freitas,
sure.
to be fair, they seem to start afresh each game, but it looks just like the last.
Yeah, Keane Hilton, Macbeth, as I said, he taken down that first over, but he's got a wicket off the first ball of this one and a dot ball. Yeah, that's such a good point about coming back after a really good day the day before. We had quite a lot about that on golfers in particular. Well, maybe shoot a 4 or 5 under one day and then have to come back, play the same course the next day, and just their mentality is gone the second day because they just think they can do the same thing again. They don't, we always talk about forgetting about the ball before, whether it's good or bad. Forget about it and bat the next one and just take it on its merits. It's similar when you're looking at a performance from the day before. You've got to put it away. We said that to Stephen Downey after that 150.
Yeah.
And he said that very thing. Can't think about it now. It's a new day. Throws that one up.
And I think that's a nice shot from John McNally. They should come back for a second. But I think that's why this is such a useful tool for coaches, because when you go away on tour, say a World Cup or a qualifying tournament or even just a series where there might be T20s and one-day internationals, have you got that ability to put yesterday's performance behind you? Are you a player who, when you're in form, you make 200 or 300s in a series? It's chipped this time a little bit more powerfully. Good power from John McNally. Had to practice the ball before. Maybe didn't quite get the hands through the ball. Does on this occasion for his opening boundary.
Yep, more of a power behind that, as you say, just to get it over. And they make Brian it cover. And this time, gee, can't get round. Despairing. Boundary for McNally. After a good start to the over for Macbeth. 7 from it now as we have last ball of this 16th. Egan again.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
It's difficult fielding out there. I will give him that because that's where the rugby field is. But should have done better, Jake Egan. And even going down the long barrier, terrible long barrier technique. Back-to-back boundaries for John McNally, and it's a bit of a gift.
Yeah, you can see there on the wrong way. Actually missed one. I was off commentary yesterday. I was standing in front of the pavilion, and he missed one yesterday in that sort of area. So he's taken 2 catches back to back, 2 good ones, but also 2 little misfields as well.
150 up with that boundary as well, 150 for 5. Graham Hume coming back into the attack. He was ineffective when he returned to the attack yesterday against Leinster Lightning. He'll hope to do better against 2 guys pretty new to the crease. Hilton just 1 from 2. He'll probably be happy to see the seamer back on. Let's get on the back foot. Very, very strong on the pull in particular. The slower ball to start. Should come back for the second. They will.
Easy 2. So 152, 4 to go. Talked all along here today. Another 200 was in the ballpark for the Reds. I think about 3 or 4 overs ago the predictor was saying 198. So 4 overs, it's still a possibility, but they're going to need one of these 2 to kick on.
Another slower ball, another misfield as well. Field is so hard. It's hard to judge the bounce. It's here in Ireland, usually at this time of year, you get the ball bouncing once or twice and then it just rolls along the ground nicely to you. I think one of the biggest surprises for me going to and playing abroad is how the outfield isn't easy to field elsewhere. We get bowling greens here a lot of the time, especially places like Clontarf. Pembroke, the grass is so short and the ground is so hard.
I think we saw that day 1 even here, but it's got even worse. Not worse, but you know what I mean, it's
more difficult.
Got even harder. Well bowled from Graham Hume. That's well bowled. There's your Yorker. Been asking for that at the death here. Graham Hume obliges and picks up the wicket of John McNally. It's a big wicket for the Warriors just going into these last overs, getting rid of John McNally, who'd started well. It's a couple of boundaries, 11 off 5. He goes LBW to Graham Hume.
2 fours in that innings. He was looking good, actually. Thought he looked at his ease, but good execution from Graham Hume, asking him to come back and come back strong at the back end. Bowls the Yorker and off balance from John McNally. No hesitation from umpire Conor McGarry, on loan from England for this week's tournament, or this week's festival, I should say.
Is he really full here? Yeah, catches him on the toe. A little bit of pain to go with the wicket, to walk off.
Limping off. At least he's got time to recover before he has to come back out and bowl. It's always a tough one as a bowler, getting one on the toe like that, and then you've got to run in as a seamer and your foot jamming forward in your shoe, uncomfortable. Liam McCarthy in.
Yeah, almost again. Hume. Yeah, that's the old cut the toe out, isn't it? And the sock comes out. We've seen that for years on the quick bowlers. Yeah, I was just actually thinking there as Graham Hume came back for the 17th over. I wonder, does he want to take a wicket here? Because he knows the next man in is Liam McCarthy.
Yeah.
If he thinks back a couple of weeks, it was the final over then, but
I'm sure his mindset is, I want him in so I can have the last laugh. Just a little bit too wide there. Tried to follow him, but the wide line won't move quite that much, Graham Hume. There's a few things I want to see today. 1, Kate Carmichael, give him a bowl. 2, please can someone let Gavin Ralston bat?
Please. I felt so sorry for him. It just triggered with me yesterday that the Warriors had batted so well against the Lightning, only 2 wickets, that Gavin Ralston, who's just in front of us here, didn't get a bat again. 12 days touring around Ireland, finally gets into the team, doesn't get a bat. So yep, I'm with you on that one.
No justice.
Even if for one ball, even a ball.
157 for 156 for 6. Left-hander on strike. It's been a good comeback over from Graham Hume. 6 in the wicket as well.
Yep, just the extra ball now from the wide. And it will just be a single as he tucks McCarthy up. He nudges it into the leg side. Picks up one. Good stuff from Hume, mixing it up well there, went to his Yorkers for a couple of balls and mixed up his pace as well. Good over. 3 to go. 157 for 6. Bowling card today. 7 used from the Northwest Warriors. So plenty of options left for skipper McBride. The only problem is he's not one of them. He'd love to be bowling another couple there, but unfortunately not allowed. So he's got to get another 3 overs out of somewhere, those 6 other bowlers. Interesting, he's going to stick with Scott Macbeth.
Good pace to Liam McCarthy to start off with. You don't want to float one up. It's very, very strong on the front foot, angling it into the left-hander.
Lines too, off towards the pavilion for the left-hander. Line's important as well, doesn't want to give him a free hit. So gets away with the dot and the 1 off the first 2. Nice to the right-hander now. Comes back over.
And too short. And that's fodder for Cian Hilton. So good on the back foot. Soon as he saw the length, hopped onto the back foot and whips the hands through for 6.
Yeah, that's the pressure in the 18th over. For the off spinner. And A little deviation that probably would have been dispatched in any over, but certainly in the 18th where batters are really looking for anything to leverage.
Round the wicket now. Much better length, but manages to squeeze it through. Bit of a misfield and work to do in the deep. Won't manage to cut it off, and the fielding just hasn't been good. Northwest Warriors, the catching has, but the ground fielding poor. As a bowler, you're expecting this to be stopped. Where's the dive?
Yeah, you talked about the bounce. It was difficult, but that actually would have helped there. The bounce was nice and sort of height to take that and need to get across. And
didn't expect it to bounce. I think it's more that reading the bounce is what's difficult as opposed to anything else, and just didn't read that well at all, Josh Wilson. He gets moved out of that position straight away by Andy McBride. I'm surprised that Andy McBride didn't have himself there anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit of an admission from the captain maybe. Made a little bit of an error. Left-hander back on for the last ball. Liam McCarthy target that pavilion. Outside off, that's well bowled. Well done from Scott Macbeth. Just those, well, it was really just the 6 ball. It was a poor delivery. The 4 really should have just been a single, which would have been a really excellent over from Macbeth. So he'll be a little bit aggrieved there. They've gone for that boundary. And it's 169 for 6, 2 overs to go for the Munster Reds. Macbeth going to be tasked with one of the overs. See the sort of skills he has. Say not going to swing here for him in the 19th over, so he's got to try a little bit of variation otherwise.
Yeah, like Graham Hume, I think the main plan to Cian Hilton was very clearly take the pace off. Don't bowl short in any way, because Cian Hilton doesn't care how long the square boundaries are, he'll take them on. So we might see change-ups from Ryan Macbeth, but make sure that they're fuller rather than shorter, I think, is the key against Hilton anyway. Good start, right up under the bat of Cian Hilton.
Yeah, exactly as requested. Nice and full. Get him on the front foot. Even if he drives down the ground, you've got plenty of protection at long on and long off.
Well, look, when you're batting and you're trying to hit the ball hard, you're tending to be anticipating what you want. So you want to play off the back foot. Cian Hilton's probably, his weight's a little bit backwards, and you bowl it full. He's not in the right position to punish you when it is full. Liam McCarthy the other way around. He'll be
slightly different.
Sweating on the full ball.
Yep.
Slower and into the pitch, well executed. Slower ball from Ryan Macbeth, excellent stuff from him. 2 singles to start the over is exactly what his captain will have wanted.
Yeah, that's about as slow as you can get from Ryan Macbeth. It almost didn't reach Liam McCarthy. A couple of swipes at it, really. Just hits him on the body. I think in the glove, clearly did, yes. It's given as a single. Good start to the over from Macbeth, but you know, T20 cricket.
Ready for it this time, Cian Hilton, but still can't get it through. He's got such a funny approach to the crease, doesn't he, Ryan Macbeth? I don't know how he manages to replicate that ball on ball. It's like a longer step, a shorter step, a little bit of a hop and a skip. If you haven't really paid attention to it up until now, make sure you watch here.
Just as you mentioned that, he's moved his little marker for his starting point.
Long, short, long, short, and gather. Nice and full. That just goes out to Andy Balburney, who knows this ground too well to make a mistake out there.
Touches that well. 4 singles.
It's been good to see Andy Balburney, you know, played every single game for Northwest Warriors. Body holding up under quite a lot of stress because they've had a lot of club cricket as well, Pembroke.
Great stuff from Macbeth here. Single again. Yeah, I think the Munster semi-finals this weekend. The women's semi-final on Friday.
The
final on Friday.
Final
on Friday with
final
men's
tomorrow. And the
semi-finals.
men's semi-finals, the two of them are on in the kind of midday, I think.
Yep.
On Saturday, and then the final in the afternoon.
Yep. So
yeah, there'll be big crowds in for that.
I was talking to a few people last night. Really looking forward to Friday night here at Sydney Parade. Should be a big game. Macbeth to close out here. To the leg side. And he's got enough on that, Macbeth. Sorry, Macbeth the bowler, McCarthy. And Macbeth a good over though. Just tainted a little bit with that last ball, but probably take 11 off that 19th over. Just maybe a little bit disappointed. That last ball goes for 6.
Yeah, just missed his length, and I think he went away from that plan of slower deliveries against Liam McCarthy. He didn't even need to try and hit that hard. It just shows the levers that he has. 11 from the penultimate, 180 for 6 for the Munster Reds, and they'll be hoping to push up towards 190, even towards 200. I don't think it'll take some serious batting to get to 200, but get Liam McCarthy on strike, you never know. It's up against Graham Hume, who's switched ends.
Yeah, talking about that final tomorrow night, you know anybody that might be involved?
I can't divulge. Ali McCalmont.
Graham Hume.
Good
Very
start.
full, very full to Hilton. They've obviously done a little bit of work. The analysis department have obviously realised, maybe watched him a good bit yesterday. Said, right, that's the option for Cian Hilton at the death.
That's the problem with being successful. People start paying attention to you. I will give you one piece of information for tomorrow. Ali will have the most 12th players you've ever seen. We call it Team 12. And when we send out the poll for availability, you can tick the box for Team 12. I think we've either got 4 or 5 Team 12 tomorrow. Everyone wanting to be involved.
It's a final.
Not just in finals, though. To be fair, they're there for the league games as well when it's not so glamorous, you know.
Great stuff.
A slower delivery. Graham Hume learning his lesson, keeps it away from Liam McCarthy. Nice and full. Yeah, there won't be room in the tent, I think. There's that much Team 12 involved.
Well, good to see. A final tomorrow night, but this is the final day of the T20 and the final 4 deliveries for the Warriors as Graham Hume goes into the pitch this time. Good piece of bowling, you have to say, changed it up. We've been talking about the fact that it targeted Cian Hilton with the full ball. Maybe the double bluff there from Graham Hume, decided to go bang it into the pitch. And maybe Cian Hilton had decided was going to be full at this time. Straight up in the air, Sam Topping takes the catch. Decent little innings again from Hilton though, 20 off 13.
Yeah, 1614 in that. That'll help you get your strike rate up above 150, but finally he was thinking about the full ball and really into the pitch. It was like a slower ball bouncer, wasn't it? It was on its way back down by the time it got to him. He was waiting and then waited too long. Those ones never easy for the keeper. Sam Topping looked comfortable though. And I love when we do these close-ups and I realise I actually don't know what someone looks like at all. Sam Topping, that's the first time I've seen his face.
Yeah, he's been under a hat and a lid pretty much for all of the 12 days. He did an interview the other day when he was player of the match for the Warriors.
I think I must have walked past him yesterday and he said hello and I thought, I don't know who that is.
You need to be walking about in your top, number 12.
Yeah, that's it.
Comes Hume. This is great stuff from Graham Hume.
Closing it out. Ali Riley back into the team in at number 9. It's always tough because you're thinking boundaries, aren't you, if you're Ali Riley? And
clearly
really should have just got a 1. Get Liam McCarthy back on strike. But now, with only 2 deliveries left.
That changes, yep. And this is often when it fields in. You've missed out on the first ball. And he's got a little piece of that, more than a little piece. Oh, lovely from Riley. Good comeback from him. A little bit of pressure on him after that first ball was dotted. He gets a boundary.
He missed by just a tiny little bit, Graham Hume. He's been brilliant up until that point, but just slightly too full toss for Ollie Riley. He'd practiced that with maybe a little bit more power, and it's only just inside the rope. Didn't even go through at the shot. If he'd just gone through it a little bit more, he would have got the full 6. Oh, back of the hand, slower ball. Not the easiest to bowl. They're going to come back for the second. Good running from McCarthy. Andy Balbirnie says, that's fine, you can have your 2. And they finish with a little flurry at the end. 6 from the final 2 deliveries, but the over belonged to Graham Hume, you'd have to say. 188 for 7 from their 20.
Yeah, 188 in total. The middle overs, they were hang up the 200 when Moore and Camphor were right in the middle, but pretty decent performance from both sides there, I would say. And Warriors will be happy to keep it under 200 in the end. Good last couple of overs from them. And there's your Reds card. They decided to bat first today, and Modgill and Doheny, decent start today in the power play, 46 without loss in the power play. Usually losing wickets, but not today. There's that middle order then. Moore and Camphor really kicked on with 35 for Moore and 44 for Camphor. Lurie missed out today with 2, and then Hilton with 20. And just a little partnership at the end between McCarthy and Riley, 12 and 6.
Yeah, good start. As you said, 53 for the first wicket, and then both openers were dismissed in quick succession. Then Moore and Camphor came together for the highest partnership of 68. Really entertaining stuff with boundaries spread around, and only 28 deliveries needed for that 68. But then they were both dismissed in pretty quick succession, and there were just a couple of small partnerships, Hilton and McCarthy, coming together to try and rebuild and push that total up at the end. 29 between them, and a useful contribution.
Plenty of bowlers for the Warriors today, 7 in total. Graham Hume bowled well in the power play, and then well when he came back as well. 2 for 30 for him. Other wicket takers, Robbie Miller, slightly expensive today, taken down in 1 over in particular, 1 for 23. Scott Macbeth, well, he did pick up a wicket, but was quite expensive, going for 41. I seem to have said it fairly regularly when it comes to the Warriors. The pick of the bowlers was the skipper. Once again, he goes through his 4 overs, taking 3 for 24.
So it's all set up for a really good finish for these two teams in the Interpro T20 Trophy, the final game in this festival and the final game across the competition for these two teams. The Warriors looking to chase down 189 for victory and put pressure on the Northern Knights to see who will finish up in that second spot. Join us again in about 15 minutes to see who comes out on top in this one. You're very welcome back to Pembroke Cricket Club. It's day 3 of this IP20 festival, the 4th of 4, and we're almost at the end of what's been a really entertaining competition. Day 12, and the Northwest Warriors, they've got to chase down 189 to win this one against the Munster Reds. It's going to be a little bit of a change. They've been the team that have changed the most, Munster Reds, in their batting order and their bowling order. They're going to go to spin straight away. Back to your Nabi getting his first opportunity to open the bowling. It's going to be Sam Topping and Andy Balburney with the bat in hand. Off we go.
Yep, off for the single. Topping, interesting stuff from the Reds. As you mentioned, they've shuffled the pack in the batters, and they're going to shuffle the pack with the bowlers too. I'll go with spin. Back to Nabi, who mysteriously for us was left out on Tuesday, came back in yesterday.
I think it was, so they play in the afternoon on Monday, and maybe they saw the spinners not going too well, so they left him out. But he's adjusted pretty well. Had an expensive over, didn't he, yesterday? His last over.
Yep.
He went too quick, we thought. Andy Balburney looking to use that extra bit of pace. The 5 fielders in on the offside, square and mid-wicket out on the leg. And that's a quintessential Andy Balburney shot. You don't see anyone else playing. It's almost like a straight drive to mid-wicket off the back foot.
Yeah.
I think you'd ever mistake him for anyone else when he plays that shot.
Quick check of the field here. So on the offside they leave one man out on the boundary and put a deep square leg in. Man on the boundary. Ball goes straight to him.
He's changed shirts.
I'm just going to
Stephen Doheney.
Stephen.
I think maybe he would thought, okay, I've been wearing the dodgy shirt for batting. It's not paid off, so let's swap around. I'm going to wear the ruined number when I'm fielding, and I wear the other shirt for batting.
Yeah, cricketers are a superstitious lot, and it's a terrific over from back to Nabi, whatever the plan was. That's an excellent over from him. Just 3 singles from the opening over. And a big total to chase, so even that one little over could pay dividends for the Reds just to get that run rate climbing straight away. So 1 over gone, 3 without loss.
It's amazing how often you get an off spinner just sneaking an over through first up, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I'm a little bit older than you, Izzy, and I go all the way back to the 1992 World Cup, one of the first ones. New Zealand did it. I was in New Zealand just before that, and Deepak Patel opened the bowling for New Zealand. Back in them days it was not a thing. It was the 50 over World Cup, to be fair. But it just wasn't a thing starting with an off spinner. New Zealand did it, and then everybody started to copy them in the next few World Cups, and then everybody got used to it, so they stopped it.
Yeah, they stopped it in ODI World Cups, but it's very much a thing in T20 still.
Yep.
And those who've tried bowling, doing the first and the third over with the off spinner generally have been taken down in that second over for the spinner. So Munster Reds, it might just be 1 over of spin. Although on the evidence of yesterday, maybe Ben White will get an early nod today again. Took 2 wickets in his first over, and it was the 5th yesterday against the Northern Knights.
Yeah, we think back to that, but I think that was more of a, as I mentioned just a bit of a 999 call. We need something here because they were getting dispatched everywhere, and he's one of our big wicket takers, so like, we don't really want to bowl you in the 5th, but you need to come on here. Worked out.
A chance. I wonder how close it was if he had hit PJ Moore. It's definitely someone that batting teams are targeting in the field. Not moving as well as he used to, but batted well today.
Yep. He a few away today. Good strike rate. Just watch Sam Topping here. Just when he first hit this, I wasn't sure he was going to go. Just maybe you're right there. Maybe he had a look at the fielder.
Yeah, because he was home.
Yeah, he was well home. Just decided to go after that split second. He was well home. That's not the ball. That's not the ball to bowl to Andrew Balbirnie. Terrific on that little semi-pulled shot. Go full extended arms, just lets it come on and helps it round the corner.
A little calypso pull, isn't it? Just off the hip, follows the ball round. Always going leg side. Just minimum of effort as well. No fielder down there, no danger at all. Opening boundary. This is a bit better from Liam McCarthy, but it's going to be the same result. First one goes behind John McNally, for a second one goes in front. Good control shown by Andy Balbirnie. Back-to-back boundaries.
Yeah, although he didn't quite get as much on this. Maybe a little bit of a winner for the bowler, a little bit better, but as I say, it's safe enough with only one fielder out there, unless you're going to really top edge it. Back-to-back boundaries, and immediately that means slip comes out. So we saw what happened in the Graham Hume over when he took slip out.
Fullan's straight at Swapnell Modgill. It's strange because he's taken that fielder out and put him into mid-wicket and then gone to a totally different plan. So I don't...
Exactly what I was thinking. You know, if you're going to bowl on a length or full outside off, then
maybe the slip is the man to have.
That's the man to have. You don't need your mid-wicket because it was just two short balls, and if you're going to stick to the short ball plan, then why are you going to outside off? Not sure.
That's classic Andy Balbirnie, but does well in mid-off. I think that's Stephen Doheney there. Read it pretty early, moves well to his left, so the fielding good for the Munster Reds so far. 11 from that McCarthy over, and after 2, Northwest Warriors getting going. 14 without loss.
Yeah, again, something we've been chatting about mid-innings there. Something to watch here. Will the Munster Reds fielding stand up here? If I take you all the way back to Cork, I think this was the first game in Cork. The Munster Reds fielding that day, both catching and ground fielding, was pretty poor, pretty rusty. Now we're going to get that second over, and he's going to get a wicket straight away. And Andrew Balbirnie, well, I think exasperation doesn't even come into it. He has literally just lifted that ball straight into the arms of Ollie Riley. He almost couldn't do anything else but catch it. He lifts his head to the skies, and unfortunately his tournament comes to an end on just 10.
Yeah, you just wonder what the plan was, because he very intentionally got into position outside off here, Andy Balbirnie, and yeah, just I think didn't get as much bounce as he was expecting. Kind of half rolled the wrists as well. If he'd gone upwards, he would have lifted it over. Ollie Riley would have added another boundary. As it is, he goes for 10, and the Northwest Warriors 14 for 1 in the chase. 2 boundaries for Andy Balbirnie. He just got going in the previous over against the seam bowling of Liam McCarthy. I suppose that's the value of having a spinner and a seamer on. You've got to change gears. Just didn't quite do it there, Andy Balbirnie. So Jake Egan out at number 3.
Yeah, I just think there's so much space out there. He could have gone left, right, over, anything really other than what he did. Jake Egan now. Get off the mark with a quick single.
If you asked Jake Egan, what ball do you want from the off spinner to just get you off the mark, I think that's exactly it. Just into the pitch and clip it anywhere he wants, so he's up and running.
Just wide of the innings. Slipping down leg side, trying to stay tight to the pads.
It follows him nicely on that occasion. Sam Topping looking to go a little bit leg side.
Would you believe it? Oh. Well.
There aren't many better catchers around than that man at 45. PJ Moore, so good. He's usually the man put into short leg in Test cricket. He's a keeper. Is anyone going to pull it off? You'd think it'd be him. I don't think I've ever seen 2 catches at 45 before, so that's a bit of a disappointment.
That's maybe why. That one goes down. So yeah, 2 at 45. That would have been very, very similar.
Little chip that's going to go over Philippe Leroux. Won't go all the way to the boundary, just be a couple. Didn't try and overhit that, Jake Egan. And an eventful over comes to an end. Got the wicket in it, slightly fortuitously. 19 for 1 after 3.
Yeah, well, plenty happening in that over. Back to now, we wondered whether he would get a second. Whether it was just an anomaly to let him bowl the first and try and run through an over, but he gets a second over, picks up a wicket first ball, and then could well have got a second in the over.
Yeah, I really didn't think it was a good decision at the start, and then all of a sudden, wicket first ball of the second over anyway. Slip goes back in now. Liam McCarthy round the wicket to Sam Topping. Classy, very classy from the left-hander. So good through and over extra cover. It's his opening boundary. And Liam McCarthy, sometimes you just got to say, well played, because not too much wrong with that delivery, just a really good shot.
He had a couple of those against the Knights. Just lifting the ball over cover. Down in towards the players area there. Really nice from Topping. Goes early on the ramp, but he's picking out the man. Ollie Riley's having a day in the field. Straight to him again. A couple of steps back, and both openers go now. Ollie Riley, the catcher, on both occasions. And Balbirnie departs, quickly followed by Sam Topping.
There he goes for 8, 1 boundary. We just saw it there over extra. Great to get another look at this. As this slower ball, Sam Topping in position. Ali Riley moves really early. Didn't have to do too much though. Tall man. He could have got more contact on that and he still would have caught it. Ali Riley. So 2 wickets in quick succession and getting themselves out, you'd have to say, the Northwest Warriors, the way that they've played those 2 balls. Andy Balbirnie and Sam Topping. Both openers back in the sheds. Both openers will be just wondering how different it might have been had they made different decisions. Just poor shot selection from them. 23 for 2. Andy McBride comes in at number 4. He's been a moving piece in the Northwest Warriors lineup. They've been the kind of the second most agile batting lineup after the Munster Reds.
Yeah, McBride out in the middle. Early here. Then comes McCarthy, targets the stump straight up.
Good anticipation from PJ Moore. He didn't want to get another single run to him in mid-off there. Just got too much on it as well, Andy McBride. Munster Reds will feel quietly confident at this point in time. They do know that there's 2 dangerous batters out in the middle. Both very capable. 2 early wickets to their names.
That's a big shout. Turned down pretty quickly. I wonder if you got a little piece on this.
The angle makes it difficult to give this out. Liam McCarthy around the wicket. Don't overestimate how difficult it is to get an LBW from this angle.
It's quite wide there. You can see the angle starting. Watch Cian Hilton. Look where he's jumping in the appeal. Doesn't really help the appeal when he's 6 yards down leg side.
Yeah, look, that actually might have clipped.
It may
We'll
have.
never know because he was stuck on the crease, but you can't give that out as an umpire. Leg side, Ben White will come round. I think there'll only be one. Yeah, as an umpire, there's certain things that you take into account, and for a left arm over bowler, for example, to a right-hander, you probably have an idea about how full you need it to be for it to be pitching in line. Similar when a bowler's coming around the wicket, the angle you need to be hit full and on the back foot usually to get an LBW in that situation. Over the wicket now.
Slower ball.
We
Really
haven't
slower
seen
ball.
much of that from Liam McCarthy, and I think it's a really good option for him. Closes out that over. Not a lot of luck on his way, Liam McCarthy, but that over managed to get an early breakthrough for him after 24 for 2, the Northwest Warriors.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make there about umpires. We always talk about a lot of pre-game. Batters will go out into the middle and have a look around and shadow bat out on the ground, bit of visualization and see what's sort of dimensions and things like that. I wonder if the umpires do that, have a little look and say, well, look, if I've got a right arm coming around the wicket, what sort of area do we need to be looking at here to go on and hit the stumps, and then sort of visualize that coming. Here's an interesting move. Back to your Nabby, gets a third over and is greeted by Andy McBride with a boundary.
Yeah, 2 full. Just floated up a little bit. I don't mind the change of pace, but the length wasn't there for it. Danced down as well. Read it early. The other off spinner in the game. One of the other off spinners in the game. I always enjoy watching spinners batting against spinners. It seems like a contest within a contest. It sounds like we are going to get Curtis Camphor bowling today. He's warming up, and Chris Brown came round to say he thought that he wasn't bowling, but it looks like he will be. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. The batting seems to have stayed just as good as the bowling suffered at all. And it gets us another one. Quicker from back to your Nabi. On the back foot, we've been talking about it all tournament. Don't go back so much, Jake Egan. Couldn't help himself. Skids through. And Nabi, where has he been in the power play for the Munster Reds all tournament? Good plan they've come up with at last. Egan goes for 3 from 5, and the Northwest Warriors in a bit of trouble. 29 for 3.
Back to your Nabby. Where have you been, my friend? Yeah, we saw you day one and we thought you had a bit about you. And there you go. Bottom edge and on the back foot, as you say. Just a natural way of playing for Egan. He goes, and here is your moment. Isabel Joyce, we've been talking about it for 12 days. Here he is, out in the middle, and at 5. It's number 24, Gavin Ralston. He's going to get his bat.
He's got such a weird way of walking out. It looks like he's just learned how to bat or something.
Yeah.
Bend your knees. Gavin Ralston, and tuck your shirt in while you're at it. A little bit sloppy looking. Hopefully the batting doesn't look sloppy now. We've talked him up. He's been doing a bit of fielding. He was impressive in the field, I thought. He was one of the ones that stood out as in the ground fielding. There's one particular one in front of you guys here when I was on a break where he had to smack the ball in.
A good catch as well. So here he is. The face back to your Nabby. Slip in.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
It's not been a tournament for Gavin Ralston. It was an arm ball or just a lot of drift, I don't know, but Gavin Ralston, his first opportunity with bat in hand, it's going to be a very slow walk back. It's not been a happy time for Gavin Ralston. Just got one opportunity across the whole 12 games, goes first ball back to Nabi. He's been a game changer for the Munster Reds bowling in the power play. He adds his third, and Gavin Ralston has to walk back for 0 from 1.
I think a little bit of drift here. In full ball. Maybe just the fact that he hasn't had any cricket in this tournament. We're really going to see it in this angle, but back to now he gets there's the finger up again. 2 and 2 for the off spinner. Maybe just see it on this angle a little bit better. So what's that little bit of drift in with the arm coming here? Yeah, there it goes. Just plays all over the top of it. Gavin Ralston, that does look like a rusty cricketer. Goes first ball, and Scott Macbeth has to come out to the middle at number 6 and face a hat-trick delivery.
Yeah, just that shot is the shot of someone who's not played, because there was no power in it. There was nothing to gain from the little push, and we've got a hat-trick ball now. That's what he should have done. Something like that. A big step, just get some bat on ball, play a forward defence. You've not been playing. You can use up one delivery, Gavin Ralston. So disappointing. He didn't make any use of his opportunity. And back to Nabi, 3 overs, 3 for 13, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
In the power play.
Thanks for coming. As he says, it's just like, where have I been, Skip? Why have you not used me before?
For the captain today, so
yeah,
have a look at that. No maidens in there, but we'll forgive that. Economy rate 4.33. Most importantly, 3 wickets.
Yeah, very much so. They would have undoubtedly been talking in the huddle pre-game about taking those 2 openers. Those have been the standout throughout the tournament, really, breaking that opening partnership. And he's done that. And then picked up 2 in that 3rd over that he's bowled. Ollie Riley bowled the last of the power play. Poor old Andy McBride's been standing down the other end as those 2 wickets fell.
Yeah, he's thinking, what more do I have to do? I'm taking 7 wickets here at 6 runs and over. I'm doing my absolute best. And yeah, after such a good batting display yesterday as well, it's disappointing not to see the Northwest Warriors back it up. Some unforced errors. Some good bowling, to be fair, to Bakhtir Nabi. I think he's got the pace of the pitch. He's managed to bowl lengths that batters just haven't been able to decide whether to go forward or go back, and when they've made the wrong decision, they've paid with their wicket.
There's that man in the action in the field. Yeah, he'll feel good as well. We've referenced it a few times now today, but not just the fact that he's taking wickets, just feel part of the game again today. He hasn't really had much of an opportunity with a bat in terms of, well, he's had the opportunities but hasn't really kicked on. Got the ball today, thrown the ball to open it up, and he's taken 3 wickets in his 3 overs. Oh, yeah, that's a beaut. Molly Ray, that's the height and the bounce you're going to get. Andy McBride just looks down and a little nod of appreciation in a way. Well bowled.
He is an exciting bowler, Ollie Riley, with that extra bit of height. And you feel like maybe in another year or 2 everything will start coming together even more. Maybe he can add a few more kilometres per hour to the pace. With that front on action, which means he can hit the pitch. Well, they're going to come back for a second trouble. He just paused there, Scott Macbeth, and if the throw had been direct, it definitely would have been out, but Ollie Riley missing the stumps in the end.
Yeah, that would have capped it off there for me. Scott Macbeth had been run out again. Yeah, I was watching Ollie Riley go through his warm-ups there. Interesting warm-up he had. He's definitely put on a little bit up top there, bit of muscle up top, and is he talking to somebody up in Breedy about him? He didn't play that day, but they were just sort of, you just need to be careful injury-wise. You want to get strength, but you don't want to be too bulky up top. You want to still keep a little bit of flexibility in your body. So
yeah, well, that's, I mean, for fast bowlers, you usually talk about glutes and
yeah,
quad strength and things like that, more so than power in the top of your body. It's about your landing and how quickly you can get through the crease. Hip drive.
I have to say, just watching him there, seems to have a good rhythm here today. Really running in powerfully. That's a good over from him. Backing up what's happened at the other end with spin. 34 for 4 in the power play Warriors. under the pump.
Yeah, good power play that for the Munster Reds. It's exactly what they would have wanted. And I'm a little bit torn about what outcome I wanted today. Munster Reds, you always want the underdogs to have a chance, but Northwest Warriors, if they don't win this game, the pressure off Northern Knights for the game later on, though they will be playing for pride against Leinster Lightning in the final game of the Interprovincial T20 Trophy. And Ali McCalmont taking a well-earned break. Dave Sirap back in, and it's been quite the start. Back to your Nabi, 4 overs on the trot.
It's a bit of an understatement. Quite the start indeed. 3 for 13 after his 3 overs in the power play.
Yeah.
Just been absolutely remarkable. It's like a lot to play for, of course. The Warriors still a lot to play for. Got McBrien and Macbeth at the crease.
Yeah, and it's not about, with those 4 wickets, it's not that these two can't do it. It's just there's, every wicket you lose, the chances of just those 2 batters are the ones coming behind doing the job goes down.
Yeah, you just felt it was like we talk about these little moments, micro moments, even before those wickets there in the previous Nabby over. Reds feeling very up for it.
Oh, that's just bounced over the stump. Scott Macbeth trying to create something, create some width. Jumps to leg side, but Nabby getting some good bounce. Oh, that is a beauty. He
can
is
do no
up
wrong.
and about. Back to your Nabby. He wants to bowl 8 overs.
Yeah.
He needs to go change his shoes and put a hat on and take someone else's overs.
Yeah, he'll be good at just the 2 deliveries left for him.
Searching a little bit for a wicket there, nice and full. Scott Macbeth will gratefully go down the other end and leave it up to McBrien to negotiate the final delivery of what's been a brilliant spell from Bakhtir Nabi. If they do go on and win this game, it could be a player of the match performance from him. We'll take a player of the match performance from one of these two, you'd imagine, with the bat in hand, to see Northwest Warriors even close. Yeah, run rate required 11.5 now. There's 5.5 is the current run rate, so there's a lot to do for the Northwest Warriors. 7 overs gone, 39 for 4, and yeah, need to kind of kick-start the innings, don't they? 4 overs, 18 runs, 3 wickets. A great return from the spinner.
Yeah, some lovely bowling there from Nabi. Just getting a lot of rip on it. Just seems to be obviously feeling good about himself and how he's bowling. Getting a lot from the surface, a lot of rip. But then also his length was perfect there in the power play. You mentioned Ralston maybe having a tough go of it, maybe could have played it slightly better. That length is just so important in the power play.
Ali Riley will bowl his second. The field spreads now. 3rd cover, mid-wicket square and Fine out. And, well, Fine comes in fact, and it's going to be long on out. Andy McBrien looking to get things going. It's popped up nicely into the hands. Good fielding from PJ Moore. He's running off celebrating, but I think Andy McBrien home and hose pretty easily.
Yeah, we could see McBrien was straight down the track. He wanted one straight away. Wasn't exactly to the fielder, but was well picked up by PJ Moore.
Always good to hit the stumps. You know, it means that the next time, if there is actually a chance, you feel more confident you're going to hit. At the same kind of time, Munster Reds were 53 without loss. It was around now that they started to take wickets, the Northwest Warriors, but they got a great platform, the Munster Reds.
And then we had that mini explosion, just with Moore and Camphor coming to the crease, just really kicking on after those wickets. It's exactly what the Warriors would need right now.
Yeah, the problem is they've got numbers 4 and 6 out in the middle. The more powerful hitters up top already gone. Very different type of lineup from the Northwest Warriors. And no Cameron Melly today. He's one of their power hitters, although Jared Wilson back in.
Two very good competitors there. Well, they'll look for the second. Not going to take it on. But they'll run very quick between the wickets. But they won't be going at it straight away. Maybe later on. Some fireworks, but...
They've got some really quick boundary fielders, Munster Reds. Stephen Doherty and Ben White on one side when it's the left-hander on strike, and then John McNally and Philippe Leroux on the other. Beautiful. Danced down, got the length he wanted, Scott Macbeth, and didn't even move an extra cover there, Stephen Doherty. I didn't have an opportunity to try and cut that off, and Ollie Riley just has to walk back to his mark. Well played.
Yeah, lovely shot there from Macbeth. Just came down the track, a little bit of a skip, got his hands through it, beat the fielder. So I was getting 4 there. Yeah, it's a fascinating little mini battle maybe between, because we know McBride loves to run for 2 if he can. He'll always push that one very, very hard. So then you've got those incredible boundary fielders as well, Doherty and co.
Good change up from Riley. Yeah, it's funny to see Curtis Camphor in a team and not on one of those hot spot boundaries. He's generally kind of mid-wicket, square, cover those positions. But captain, he's in mid-off or currently long off because they've brought third up. He's quite wide and long off. He was just skipping to his side as the bowler's running in. You're not meant to do that. Batter was supposed to know the angle of the fielders before the bowler starts running in.
There you go.
Get in trouble if the umpire spots you. Straight down the ground, those two fielders very wide. Gets it all the way for 6. Gambles correctly once more. Ollie Riley just guilty of maybe staying on one length too much. Boundary in a 6, ruining what would have otherwise been a really good over.
Yeah, lovely boundary there at the end of the over. Just to take it in the Warriors' favour. Skips. Hits it down the line. Lovely shot to hit the side screen. I was about to say, Riley had started very, very well. Also, those 2 catches, which are very important. Big unit, can cover a lot of ground. That short, fine leg, and then also at slip to remove Topping. Topping playing one of his scoops, but couldn't quite get it over the big frame of Ollie Riley.
I don't think you can call that slip. Can you? Short third?
Yeah.
Fly slip, maybe.
Yeah.
No, and to be fair, he didn't have to move much.
Yeah. And then, of course, we've seen a few little change-ups from Liam McCarthy, which has been good to see.
Yeah, really good to see. Haven't seen much of that. Ben White into the attack. I'll be enjoying the opportunity to come on now and try and break this partnership, this budding partnership between McBride and Macbeth. The Mac attack.
Yeah. Ben White, of course, coming in after his player of the match performance yesterday, 4 for 26. It was tough going in the first game for him, day 1 of the festival. Came back really nicely yesterday, really good length. I just seemed very, very confident interviewing him afterwards. Just going back to that hard length that he knows it's much harder to hit for the batter.
That's a big hit. That's gone all the way. And some. Scott Macbeth just backing his ability. We've seen him play maybe a little bit within himself this competition. It's all or nothing for the Northwest Warriors now. This is where the game is at between these two. Really good quick hands on the sweep.
Yeah, lovely shot here. Talked about that hard length. This wasn't quite it. And as well met there by Macbeth. This is really it. If they're going to go for to give themselves a chance of second place, this is it. This is the moment in the game where these two batters are really going to have to go for it. Just retrieving that ball from the Gardens. We've seen a few go over. Andy Balbirnie, I'm sure, in his time has sent a few over. Sent a few over yesterday.
I think Stephen Doherty was given a ball there, and I don't think it's the one that actually they were using in the game beforehand. He's handed that back.
I'm surprised they haven't been able to sneak on a few drinks here. A few subfielders, maybe a watchful subfielder might have taking the opportunity with that heat.
Who's in 12th? Who's 12th and 13th, huh? David O'Sullivan for the batting team. Craig Young, I don't think he's going to be running on the drinks.
No.
Returning from injury. Munster Reds have... who's gone out for them? You put me under pressure here. Byron McDonough. Suleiman Safi, where are you?
Where are you? Maybe having a nice drink in the tent.
Yeah.
Ben White to continue.
Pulls that length back, Ian Hilton, thinking he might be in with a chance, but no. Good communication between these two.
Yeah, he's made that adjustment, Ben White, immediately. His favoured length, much harder to hit. We saw Robbie Miller going the distance a bit. He's a much slower leg spinner, a different kind, and he floated it up and disappeared.
Ben White frustrated that that's gone for a single, but it's one all day, no matter what you do. I don't think there's anything the fielder could have done about that. PJ Moore hit into the ground, took all the pace out of it. So good rebuild this from the Northwest Warriors. They'll need to continue going at this pace. Into the pitch a little bit quicker, and like Beth not able to get in position quickly enough.
Yeah, a bit of bounce there too. Interesting to see how this pitch plays now. Day 3 of the festival. Had some blistering sunshine now today and yesterday.
A good finish from Ben White. No one to Philippe Leroux. The 2 dots. The 6 are really making that an okay over for the Northwest Warriors. They've added 32 since losing the 4th wicket. The Northwest Warriors 9 gone, 61 for 4.
Yeah, what was really impressive about Ben White's performance yesterday was his ability to come back, 'cause he'd been hit for a few sixes by Sterling and Adair, and then came back to take a couple of wickets, 3 wickets actually, in the power play, and he just finished off that over quite well. So he's probably feeling quite good about how he's doing things at the moment.
Well, we'll watch with interest to the next bowler, Curtis Camphor, for his first ball on the last day. He's been sorely missed by the Munster Reds. That'll be the 5th bowler used. Factor now be by far the standout in that lineup so far, but he's bowled out. Andy McBride was thinking about doing something a little bit funky, but had to readjust.
Maybe Camphor's chance here to do something special. Last day of the festival, last day of the competition. Takes the ball. But of course, Naby's made quite a name for himself today with those 3 wickets. He's bowled out already.
The return of the off spinners. A few years ago, I was saying there's no place in T20s for off spinners.
Who told you that?
I said it. It was my own theory, but maybe there is. That's going to be another 2. Replacement from Scott Macbeth. It's 2 all day when you move those fielders in the deep sideways.
It's tricky, I suppose, that there's trends too, but I suppose the favourite trend at the moment is the matchup, right-hander, left-hander. You can have right arm finger spin, left arm finger spin, so still room in the game.
Oh, a bit of a bouncer from Curtis Camphor. Well, I think the difference is left armers, because of the prevalence of right-handed batters in the game. Maybe in Sri Lanka there's a bit more of space for an off spinner because they have so many left-handed batters. But you know, you usually only get 1 or 2 left-handers in a team, if even that many. So left-arm spinners seem to be in vogue.
Just a few changes there.
Because the full ball, has he got the distance? Yes, he has. Philippe Leroux thought he was in the game for a long time, but gets the distance forward of him. Scott Macbeth, nice little clip off the pads. What was the judgment here from Philippe Leroux? Did he make a mess of this, or was it just good cricket?
Gets under it nicely, and then just bounces inside.
Came in, it went over his head. He generally fields in the ring, Philippe Leroux, and it's a different skill fielding on the boundary, especially in that position, mid-wicket, one of the more difficult ones to judge. Another change up from Curtis Camphor.
The very honest Philippe Leroux. Maybe another fielder might have said, I didn't quite see it, sorry. Maybe trying to cover for themselves.
Yeah, I think he could have tried it. I don't think anyone would have been
Believed
fooled,
it.
unfortunately.
Plenty maybe in the tents there beside. Could have called it out.
Yeah. It's not the best angle to be trying to make excuses, but straight at the feet of Andy McBride, so can't squeeze it past Philippe Leroux. Looks a lot more comfortable in extra cover there. The boundary, 2 singles and a 2, mean that goes for 8, and halfway through their overs, Northwest Warriors 69 for 4. So still requiring 120 from just 60 deliveries. Going to get 2 a ball for that length of time would really be something. And because of that heat you mentioned, David O'Sullivan will come out for drinks. Maybe this is why the 12th and 13th weren't too worried about drinks. There's drinks at the halfway stage here with the extra heat we've got in Ireland.
Yeah, we've got the drinks break, of course. Bit of time to chat in between now while the players get an important drink, take some fluids on. Talking earlier about moments in the festival. Who for you has put together a real good body of work? Isabel Joyce.
That's going to be a bit obvious, isn't it? But Tim Tector is one that stands out. Chris DeFreitas as well. Really enjoyed watching the evolution of him in T20 batting. Andy McBride as well. Oh, he's such a competitor, and I think he injects energy into whoever he's batting with or whatever his bowling partner is. Munster Reds, it's been more the youngsters. Ollie Riley's been really good in parts, as has John McNally and Philippe Leroux. Good to see Curtis Camphor back as well. Northern Knights, been disappointed by the Northern Knights.
Yeah, it's been tough going for the Knights.
They kind of, player for player, you'd think maybe the best team on paper. They just flattered to deceive for me.
One for me would be Cian Robertson. Thought he bowled very, very well. Can use him in different points in the game, in the power play or outside. But just great changes of pace and just kind of really gets up and over, delivers it quite late. So seems to have a very good read of the batter in terms of when he's going quick, when he's going slow, when he's going to try to hang it up. Good lengths as well.
Barry McCarthy.
Well, of course.
Don't forget about Barry McCarthy, big Barry.
Never forget about Barry, I'll let you know.
Missing yesterday and we forgot all about him. I'm sure he'll be back in today. And Ben White back into the attack. He's been impressive on occasions as well. Good length. That's the hard length that he wants to stay on.
Yeah, straight away. He got hit a bit in his first over, but then kind of rectified that in the second half. And now back on it, of course.
Changing the field, moving PJ Moore into mid-wicket. So just the one fielder behind square on the off side. So the carrot there for Scott Macbeth if he wants to. Well, in fact, Ollie Riley's going to go across, so that's an odd movement of players.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, let's
no
keep an eye.
45. So it looks to go there straight away. A risky shot just for one, so probably you'd say odds even there, but Ben White, good thinking from him.
Yeah, interesting to see how they go about it. Yeah, risky for just a single. Ben White does give you a little bit of pace to work with, so if you could get across and make good enough contact.
It's funny how often as a batter you can get caught up with a gap like that. Dance down from Andy McBride, good adjustment. He's very balanced when he comes down, isn't he, Andy McBride? So he's able to access when it's straight at him, he's able to access outside off stump.
Yeah, his movement's incredible. Great balance, footwork. Not easy coming down the wicket too. A spinner like Ben White is flatter, a bit quicker.
Changing the field again, that mid-wicket will go into 45, so back to the original field. And Dance down, has he got enough? He just about does. Swapnil Mogul putting in the effort at long on. Goes for the one hand, but only just about had the distance. Scott Macbeth really had to reach for that, but he gets 6 more.
Yeah, much fuller in this occasion. Good use of the feet by Macbeth. And then evades the fielder.
I think
Good
that
effort in
was
the end.
the top spinner. There's the googly. It goes past leg stump. Another opportunity taken by the Munster Reds. Cian Hilton. Good glove work from him. Not easy behind the stumps, unsighted probably for a lot of that. And this promising partnership comes to an end. Scott Macbeth trying to add another boundary or another 6. He goes for 33 from 22. It's been entertaining, but probably just not quite enough for the Northwest Warriors. 2 4s, 3 6s. They're 78 for 5.
Yeah, lovely piece of bowling there from Ben White. The length brilliant. We mentioned that harder length, but keeps an eye on the batter. They've been moving around. Came down the crease. And yeah, that was the googly. Well kept there by Hilton. You're a bit unsighted.
I'd love to know if they had discussed that exact thing. Like it was a real drag down, googly down the leg side, but Scott Macbeth looking like he really wanted to come down the pitch. So did keeper and bowler come together there and come up with a really good plan, really good execution, or was it a little bit of luck? What do you reckon, Dave?
Might depend who you ask, and it might depend.
Come on, you're a leg spinner at heart. You've got to
Oh,
be
it's a
backing
course. It's a course
bowler
of plan.
there.
That's always the plan.
Give the credit to the bowler. I'm
Yep.
saying Ben White did that on purpose. You don't see drag downs like that from him down leg side.
And really, you'd hope it was just a little bit of a whisper maybe between White and the keeper.
Maybe they've got a little signal.
There you go. A little bit of a signal, something to keep an eye out for.
Maybe it touches the ear or ties his shoelace. Used to do that when I first came on it. If I tie my shoelace, then the keeper knew it was a slower ball coming up. So new in, Jared Wilson in much earlier than he will have wanted. Power hitter. And full shot first off. Just sneaks through a little dot. And it should be the end of the over. We're going to have an extra one. I suppose it's the wicket. Was a wide.
Wicket was a wide, yeah, of course.
We don't have the ability to put that on our graphics. Something to work on.
Just the final ball, the over.
Great delivery.
Lovely bowling.
Beautiful. Just angled in, drifts in, turns away. Welcome to the crease, Jared Wilson. Well bowled, Ben White got the breakthrough. 11 gone, 78 for 5.
Yeah, nice piece of bowling. You would have said maybe that sort of length, just floating it up, you might get punished, but try it out with the new batter. Fish around maybe, fish for the wicket. The Reds well on top with the Warriors with a lot to do. McBride at the crease, 20 off 19. Scott Macbeth, he was batting. The two were batting well together, 33 off 22 for Macbeth. But Nabi with those 3 wickets, really taking the heart out of the top order there for the Warriors. Camphor to continue.
Short, and he's in position early, Andy McBride, but for once doesn't run the first one hard. Maybe that wicket just knocking the wind out of his sails a little bit. A little misfield from Ollie Riley. They're not able to.
Yeah, it's unusual for McBride. He kind of tends to keep going right to the end. But 110 needed now from 53 deliveries. That's a tall order.
I need a flurry of boundaries. I need a big over. And this one or the next one would maybe get them back in with a chance. What does the Wasp say, Ali McCalmont? Oh, and that's going to hurt. Cian Hilton. Did well. That one just, I think, hitting a foot mark. He went along the ground and Cian Hilton went into the long barrier. He's in strife there, the keeper. He took that on the side of the knee.
Yeah, I'll have a look back here. Yeah, a bit of pain at the moment, Hilton. Yeah, just the side of the knee there, and then immediately felt that.
A little rub on the back from Liam McCarthy. All right, champ.
Yep.
Keep going. Stephen Doheny's turned away somewhere. He's saying, I don't want the gloves back.
Yeah, he can keep going, he
getting
says.
Tougher and tougher here at Pembroke.
And of course, Hilton with that very nice piece of wicket keeping earlier there from Ben White. That's stumping. He'd like to keep going.
Well, that's too short. And fodder for McBride. He had a practice early on the over, didn't make the contact then. He does this time.
That's a lovely shot. Lovely sound off the bat. It's a bit shorter. McBride was waiting for it. Change up there from Camphor. It was gone. Straight into the gardens.
Yeah, change up. He does like to bowl a lot of change ups, and you do have to finish your action and bowl it into the pitch, but that much too short from Curtis Camphor with that slower ball, especially here in Pembroke. We've seen it sit up a little bit when you do bowl the change of pace, and just a little bit predictable. I think Andy McBride sitting back waiting for the change of pace.
And then really well read by McBride. Great eye for it. If you don't quite get it right, he's ready and waiting.
Well, Ali McCalmont never stops working. He's on a break. We've put him to work. So,
What's he
Sarah,
got?
what is the Wasp chance of victory for the Northwest Warriors? I'll give you a clue. It's higher than it was yesterday when the Northwest Warriors actually beat Northern Knights. But when it was 4 overs gone and the Northern Knights were 60 without loss.
I've no idea, honestly.
Come on, just have a guess. This is
Wasp is,
quiz time with Isabel
goes
Joyce.
Quiz time with Isabel Joyce.
Yeah, Ali McCalmon's been having to listen to me all 4 weeks and having to put up with quiz time, and he's done it with a smile on his face. You have to continue on the trend.
I'll throw a number out here. 5%.
You've split the difference between yesterday and today, and Curtis Camphor gets one through full straight, a little bit quicker, gets his first wicket of the tournament. Jared Wilson looking to get off the mark, misses a straight one.
Camphor splits the stumps and retrieves the bails. High fives all around. Jared Wilson, not from 4 deliveries, really tough position to come in to the wicket with his team needing something extra from him, but McBride and Macbeth, he felt that was the partnership. We'll have a look back at this.
I cleared the front leg and trying to give himself room, practice it again. That would have been better, Jared Wilson, if he played a little bit straighter. So the answer to the question, it was 8%. I'm sure it's changed now at that wicket. It was 8% chance of victory. I think that was actually, was that when Scott Macbeth was in or after he was out? When he 2 balls ago. So Scott Macbeth was out, but Jared Wilson was in. Yesterday, Northern Knights had 98% chance of victory after 4 overs, and they lost.
That's pretty incredible.
So once in 50 times you expect the Northwest Warriors to go home. That was it yesterday. I don't think they're going to come back from this position. Very different when you're trying to chase 180. What are we chasing here? 189. Human. And that's on the pads. That could be out. Is it outside the line? No, it's in line. 2 and 2 for Curtis Camphor. Mark Hawthorne liked it. The height was good. The only question I had was, did he manage to get outside the line? Mark Hawthorne says no. The Northwest Warriors quickly folding on the last day. Munster Reds up and about. Looking for a second win in 2 days. Hume in at number 8 goes first ball, and we've got our second opportunity for a hat-trick in the innings. 87 for 7.
Mark Hawthorne felt he didn't need to think too much about it. Camphor coming in from around the wicket to Hume. Targeting the stumps.
Just in line.
Yeah. Camphor coming in here for his first ball in the competition. Final day, last day of school. Make a name for yourself.
Last day of school. I don't think that's good advice, is it? Make a name for yourself on the last day of school. Usually it's some piece of notoriety if you're doing that. Good idea in cricket, though.
2 wickets and 2 deliveries. Might be talking about Curtis Camphor a bit after this.
Yeah, hat-trick ball, he'll have to wait. I'm sure Curtis Camphor, I hope he's allowed to bowl 3 overs and he's not on kind of, workload issues. Only 2 overs today, Curtis. Ben White will continue. Got that wicket with the googly. Made the crucial breakthrough kind of to put this game to bed. It was Scott Macbeth who was scoring pretty freely. Andy McBride plays a rare defensive shot.
Yeah, it's unusual because he's usually so proactive. We noticed it earlier where seem to turn down a 2 on the misfield.
And it does have that feel about it, doesn't it, where you know, if there's anything you haven't tried, anything you want to try it in a game, now's the time, Andy McBride, because it looks like this game is gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, could be drifting away from the Warriors now, or has drifted. Goes again. Not to be. They scamper through. We'll have a look, see if there's anything on it, but yeah, looks like a bit of bat involved. Which brings Ryan McBeth onto strike for his first delivery.
There's a little bit of a competition between these two teams because we've been talking about second place, Northern Knights and Northwest Warriors. Who's going to get that? Northern Knights currently on 21, Northwest Warriors on 20, but Munster Reds on 15. So if they get a bonus point win against Northwest Warriors, they're tied up on points, and then it comes down to net run rate. Too good from Ben White.
Yeah, lovely piece of bowling. He's got the slip in now. He mentioned he seems to be happy with his work.
He has a ball on a string here, Ben White. Ryan McBeth throwing caution to the wind. Might see the googly here. And that fielder had just been placed there. Play that shot any other delivery, you get at least one, if not four, but not on that occasion. One run in the over, and that over has gone by in quick time. And the time that Dave Sear has been on has gone by in quick time. Our thanks to him for coming on the first and the second innings to give us a little break. The Northwest Warriors, they would have felt maybe 189, slightly above par, but very much chaseable. Enter back to your Nabby bowling in the power play. 3 wickets from him, bowled out in the first 7 overs. And aside from Andy McBride, who's currently out in the middle on 29, not good reading from the Northwest Warriors' point of view. Hat-trick ball for Curtis Camphor as Ali McCalmont returns. Don't worry about it. Oh, here we go. Hat-trick ball, catch in the deep, taken. Good catch. Andy McBride didn't seem to remember there was a hat-trick ball, maybe. Field stayed the same. And he's just heaved it into the waiting hands of Stephen Doheney. Curtis Camphor back in and making a difference straight away. 44 with the bat at quick time. And then 3 wickets and 3 deliveries as Andy McBride can't quite believe what he's done. 29 from 26 for the Northwest Warriors captain, 1-4 and 1-6. But a disappointing end to the tournament for him.
Yeah, I think it'll be disappointing in the overall team performance here for McBride. But that was a hat-trick ball, and he maybe had forgotten. He was just trying to take it down. But straight up in the air, a long way it went up. Actually a very, very good catch from Doheney, because that's looking straight into the sun here, which as we've referenced a few times today is right up there today. No cloud cover at all. It might help with the depth perception a little bit, but right into the sun you could see him shielding his eyes a little bit. But yeah, if we wanted just an extra little piece of notoriety to end the tournament, there's a hat trick for us. We saw 100 yesterday from Tim Tector with the bat. And today, Curtis Camphor has picked up a hat-trick with the ball. We are complete. But, you remember this guy with the ball in Ireland colours against the Dutch? 4-4.
Yeah.
Can he do it again?
That was some day, wasn't it? That was some performance from him. He seems to find a way to take wickets. Curtis Camphor slip back in. Right.
Yes, he's done it. He's done it.
Robbie Miller nicks off first ball. Well, and the thing is, we've seen him do 4 from 4. Might we see 5 from 5? It's WWWW. And no, there isn't a dot after. Well, there might be. Josh Wilson will be the last man out, and Curtis Camphor just trying to finish things off quickly. And we're talking about the table on the McCalmont. They're going to equal points with Northwest Warriors. That's a given. It's just how much of a difference, how quickly they can get this man out or the man at the other end, because their net run rate well behind the Northwest Warriors. I don't think they'll be able to make up the difference, but they'll be pleased to equal on points.
Yeah, earlier in the tournament it might have made a big difference this, but obviously with the number of games we played now. But what a moment for Curtis Camphor. There's your headlines for tomorrow. 4-4 the Green of Ireland, and now 4-4 in the Munster Reds colours. Nice little nick for Camphor. Up goes the finger from both the bowler and the umpire. And now we move on to that 5-5. Can he do it? Josh Wilson out at number 11. And I was just about to say on that 4-4, would he go back to the stumps, try and get LBW and bowled? Will he do it now?
Yes, definitely to the left-hander.
And he's done it.
5 from 5. What a performance. Half the wickets in 5 deliveries from Curtis Camphor. He's having a real day out, the Munster Reds captain. He can't quite believe it. Big smile on the face, popular character. Munster Reds, well, they finish on a high, but for them to finish on a high, Northwest Warriors are real low. He gets Josh Wilson first delivery. Quicker delivery. It seemed to get quicker and quicker as those 5 deliveries went by. First, he started out by bowling Jared Wilson. Then it was, what happened next? It was the
Oh, it's incredible.
LBW. It was the LBW of Graham Hume.
Hume.
Then it was McBride caught in the boundary, caught behind for Robbie Miller, and then the final wicket goes down. Top of off. Where has he been? We've missed you, Curtis Camphor. Welcome back.
I've never seen that in 40 years of cricket. 5-5. And look at the smile on his face. He's taken a hat trick in this over. Don't forget the 2 that he took at the end of the previous. Makes it 5-5 for Curtis Camphor. Let's relive that moment once again as he bowls to Josh Wilson. Targets the stumps. That's a decent ball first up, just nipping back a little bit to a number 11. And like I say, incredible achievement there from Curtis Camphor. I was saying your headlines were written with 4-4. They're definitely written now as 5-5.
Yeah, really complete performance from the Munster Reds, and Northwest Warriors will look maybe at the opening 5 overs of their run chase and think that was where the game was lost. Back to your Nabby for me, even though 5-5 delivery is still the player of the match. In my opinion, I don't think he'll get it, unfortunately. No justice in cricket for bowlers, but Curtis Camphor 44 and 5 wickets. Hard to look past that, to be fair. And the batting performance from the Munster Reds really set things up. Swapping O'Moggill and Doheny laid the platform, 27 each for them in pretty good time. We've seen that it's easier to catch up later on in Pembroke Wanderers, and that's what Moore and Camphor did. Once the platform was laid outside the power play, they came in 35 from just 16 deliveries from PJ Moore. He's come back in and made an impact this week for the Munster Reds. Curtis Camphor, top of the pops, 44 from 24 from him, and a little tail wag from Cian Hilton and McCarthy, 20 and 12 from them, and at a good rate as well.
Partnerships for the Reds, good one up top. They haven't had that right throughout the tournament really, but today they got off to a decent start. 53 from that opening partnership between Modgill and Doheny, fairly evenly spread, but as you mentioned, it was that 3rd wicket partnership between Moore and Camphor that really upped the ante. 68, again evenly split, and then just a couple at the end there with Hilton and McCarthy putting on 29 towards the end.
I think they will have been actually quite pleased with their bowling performance by and large, Northwest Warriors. A couple of bowlers were expensive. Scott Macbeth taken down in 1 over around his figures. Came back and did get the wicket though, and wickets for Miller and 2 for Hume, who was really impressive, especially at the back end. He kind of got Northwest Warriors back in the game with late wickets. Andy McBride did the damage early on, and he took 3 for 24 in his 4 overs. He's easily the best bowler today and across the tournament for the Northwest Warriors.
Yeah, so 189 was the chase from the Northwest Warriors. Had a good performance yesterday with the bat, but not so today, and that was all started off with the wickets of Balbirnie and Topping back to back, going for sweeps. Collie Riley taking both catches. Balbirnie went for 10, Topping for 8. Egan went cheaply to Nabby, and he was the tormentor in chief at the top of the order, taking 3 wickets. McBride and Macbeth, the sole standouts there with 29 and 33, but just look at that at the end. 5 knots to end the innings, and and 5 wickets for Curtis Camphor.
Never seen a score quite like it. The wickets came early and Munster had sniffed an opportunity. Northwest Warriors tried to get back in it with the best partnership by a long shot between McBride and Macbeth. While they were together, scoring at a decent rate, they were in with a shout, and that ended on 49 with a good piece of clever thinking from the leg spinner Ben White. And after that, it was just a march towards a loss, and the final 5 wickets falling for naught.
Well, just 5 bowlers used, just a 13.3 overs in total. It's not often you can see a bowler bowling in the power play, especially an off spinner. 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 18. You'd have been saying he'd have been looking at a man of the match performance. McCarthy bowled well, went for 16 from 2. Riley as well, not for 18. White came into the middle, but 2.3 overs, no maidens, 5 for 16, and that doesn't even half tell the story. Those 5 wickets in 5 consecutive deliveries for Curtis Camphor.
Second 5 of the tournament. We had one in the first week, and that one was eclipsed by the one we've just seen. 5 wickets in 5 deliveries, and Camphor was one of the ones who set up the victory with his bat. 44 from just 24 deliveries. He was aided by Moore, Modgill and Doheny, and McBride was needed to try and keep that score under 200. They would have thought it was chaseable, but enter Bakhtir Nabi. He bowled absolutely brilliantly in the power play, 3 for 18, and then closed out in the end by Curtis Camphor, 5 for 16, 5 wickets on the trot for him. Munster Reds win by around 100 runs in these two teams' final game of the tournament. Munster Reds, they end on a high, couple of wins in a row. Northwest Warriors will be disappointed with that close. How will things finish up this afternoon? Northern Knights will be very keen for their first win of the week here in Pembroke. They'll be taking on the Leinster Lightning, who are flying high. Make sure you come back in a couple of hours' time to see, are there going to be more fireworks at 3:45? Just before then, we'll be on air. Until then, it's good afternoon.